Live on it. We live on it. Okay, this meeting is being live streamed. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's being live streamed, man.
Right. Well, you let me know when you want to tee up the commercial, and we'll do that.
Live on it. Yeah, we like. Oh shit! Let me find a YouTube video to blink that out. Okay, it's being live streamed. I gotta find it. Where is it? Okay, got it. Yeah, we like. Oh shit! The crystal clear camera. Okay. All right, we there. And I gotta find a way.
I got to start being a bit more diligent with my sources and start putting everything back in Mendeley as well. Makes it easier. My resource manager source manager software. Remember I told you about that one? It makes it really easy. Only thing you can do, you just pull it up, you type in just a keyword, and it just goes to all your academic sources that you have imported into it. It's like a local database.
Okay.
Yeah, I gotta be more organized in that regard.
Okay.
I'll get there.
Man.
We just been combing through so much information, probably over the last 2 weeks. Just based on this particular topic, right?
It's a good topic too.
It is.
Yeah, we about to get into the space. I want to download that thumbnail too. Y'all gonna like that thumbnail. Hey, Anthony, so what you get in the mail, bro? What's up? We live too. What you get in the mail?
Well, Uncle, I got me one of my new scopes coming in. It's a Celestron C6 Smith Castle. Yeah. Let me see.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. You was like, yeah. I got the Celestron. I said, the what? Oh man, yo.
Yeah, I see it.
You're working. Y'all got the Nassau plan. Let me see.
Yeah. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yep, I see it.
Click on your screen. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
Anthony building out him a mini space program at the house.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Where you getting all this funding?
Hey, I tell you what, I need to be,
man.
In order for funding, Brendan, I need to be a pseudo. Because them the motherfuckers get paid.
Absolutely.
But it's going to work, man. You know,
I
have some good friends.
Hey, you gotta have some good friends to get some funding.
Anthony, if you was a bona fide pseudo, you already have your observatory in Boulder, Colorado by now, right?
I'm trying to tell you, man, because you know the way they get all of their information, they got labs everywhere.
Man, yo.
You know, but it just, you know how it is, Brendan. You know, when you go to work every day, man, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Your passion. What we talking about?
Yeah, exactly. Your passions become something that's within your fingertips at that point. That's the payoff of hard work, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But yeah, I got it. I'm up to my I'm at my aunt's house now. I brought it up to my aunt's house because she got a little bit better skies than I got at my mom's. She got a garage as well, as y'all can see. That I can, you know, I need some light. It's dark, but I need that light. But I'm in a good spot up here. I'll be up here for a little while, trying to see what I can do with it, man. Just trying to get familiar with it, but the better pictures are on the way. You know, like I've been saying, the quality of my pictures are about to improve with this one. But I ain't finished yet. Still one more I got to get, and that's the one I want to be able to get my research grade pictures in, so I can start, you know, doing a little work with NASA.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It
wouldn't do me any good to buy a telescope here in DC. Now, if I did get one, like I put it in the garage at the house back in Georgia, that would work. But here, no, it wouldn't do me any good. We barely can see the moon here.
Yeah, it's the same way when I'm
with
in
the
Dallas.
Light pollution, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same way when I'm in Dallas, Brendan. you know, I have to do what I can to fight the light pollution. But when I'm here in Louisiana, man, you know, it's much darker. Get better skies. So this one will probably be. I'm gonna travel with it. This will be my travel scope. Because the other one that I really want, you know, it's too big to move around with. So that's when I start to working on my observatory, which would be by the end of the year. I should be able to get that one.
You have all
I can
that.
stick to my plan.
Use the pseudo. You have all that in a space vehicle.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I see my academic road dog just joined the panel. Juju, right?
Keith, can you hear me?
We can hear
Yep,
you.
we can hear you.
I was delayed because I'm trying to, you know, I got tablets and a laptop and I don't ever use it. So today early, I was trying to like get the Discord and a messenger and everything on my laptop. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just so much more convenient.
Kind of laptop.
Mine ain't nothing. I ain't high powered like you with the Mac
Like
Pro
me.
and all that.
What?
But
Listen,
I got me an HP.
Look.
Then this is like my second one in 2 years because I basically
are you serious?
just broke the other one. Man, the first one I had just got it, put it under this chair, broke it, got the screen fixed and broke it again.
Look, for years I had this.
Oh, the Dell.
Then though, it ain't it's eyes, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mine, I got
a
on the screen. It wasn't no joke. It was there, but it ain't there.
Right.
So I got upgraded. You know what I mean? They upgraded me all the way, man. Shout out to everybody, man, that's been celebrating with me my whole birthday weekend, man. Shout out to the gifts, right? Shout out, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's been a real good weekend for me, man. You know, nice little birthday party yesterday. Everybody came through, right? We was partying, but they was over there studying. They was over there talking to them experts.
Right.
Brendan.
I was late to the party.
Appreciate that, man. You know, but yeah, I appreciate everybody, man, that looked out. My birthday, that's love right there. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the chat. You know what I mean? Appreciate y'all, man. Been a lovely birthday weekend. That's all I'm gonna tell you. Been having fun, man. I worked on my book yesterday.
Nice.
All right, you know, I got 2 projects coming out, and I want y'all to go ahead and put it in the what they call it, the what's it called, Brendan?
What's
Clear
that?
checker. Yeah, I'm giving all permission. Throw it in there. I dare you.
You know that's gonna happen, right? So you better be very careful. Make sure your editing is top notch, brother. Peace, Sosa. Peace, Sosa.
Bro, what's good? What's good?
What's going
on?
Pseudo
killer right there, Mr. Sosa. I seen you in there. I see you. Good to have you there, bro.
What's up, man? Good to be here. What's good, Anthony?
Football season is over with. Hey, I see Omar Reed in the building, man. What's going on? James Modest, man. What's up? Love Soul, do you? What's up, man? Yeah, I ain't turned 70, man. Stop it. Smalls, 9/11. What's going very hard, James in the building, man. Appreciate you in there. Who else we got in here? Let's see. We got. Let me see. Hey, Latika B, what's up, man? What's up, Latika? How you doing? And happy birthday to your daughter too.
Hey, Latika.
All right, I see we got, that's you, Juju, in there. We got Miss Tiffany in the building. What's going on? P, what's up? Salute. Luminous P, what's up with you? What's this? Paragon, yeah. You know what it is? Yeah, so we're gonna get it in next week. What we talking about next week, Brendan and Anthony? The Cosmos, right? We're going straight to the Cosmos, right?
Yeah, I believe so. This is sort of a continuation on Brother Anthony's presentation he did last week as well, right? So in terms of what we're talking about is the evolution of the universe, right? We always talk about, human evolution, right? And I think the brother did a really, really good job in terms of stars and maybe stellar evolution last week. But now we're sort of broadening that topic, right, towards the evolution of the universe, the Big Bang, the errors, right? In terms of how did the universe evolve into what it is today? So that's going to be an interesting conversation. This is something that we've talked about and we've hinted on a few shows ago. This may be 6 months or so, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's long overdue, but we're gonna tackle the subject next week.
Mm-hmm. Load this thumbnail for y'all before we get started, man. Hope y'all coming through. Yeah, yo, it was always a great conversation. And it's fun for me. I like doing it because I already know where it's gonna go and how it's gonna end. We're gonna start with the experts.
Yeah, we're gonna get into leading up to them very first nebulas that created the very first stars. So we kind of going back at the same time, parallel, but kind of taking a step back to see how it all started that led up to those stars or that presentation that I gave last week. So yeah, I'll be ready for that one.
Damn, Anthony, I wasn't even talking about that. Did my thing over there? Damn, you thought I was talking about that? One loud enough.
Oh, nah. Yeah. I mean, I know you was, but I was just.
Oh my God, yo, you threw me off my trail. You killed me.
Oh, my bad.
Shot me.
I'm sure you'll get it back though. It'll come back to you.
Shot. No, it won't. It was. Oh, shot me. Damn. You don't shoot the old man like that, man.
My bad, dog.
No, it's all good, man. Shit. I'm trying to get this. I want to put this the thumbnail is fire too.
Speaking of getting shot, man, we were in a deep gun battle last night over on Smash's show. That was very, very fun, as usual, right? It's like, hey, I tell you what, I woke up this morning. I was like, okay, well, I shot a few. I received a couple shots, so I had a couple wounds as well. But that's how we do it, right?
That's how we do it.
So yeah, that was a deep intellectual gun battle late last night. Conversation. So yeah,
high level conversation. I think the conversation, we're gonna start the show off, right? The conversation that was had with the experts is a great place for us to start. All right. Yeah, it is. And we're gonna start off with the Black African power. What's good? What's happening? A well-organized lie defeats a disorganized truth every time. Wait, man, y'all already know what this is, man. It's the PseudoKillas on deck. We come to do, we got to do, and we're gonna do, we got to do. We standing tall, we standing strong. PseudoKillas on deck. What's going on, Sosa? What it do? What it do? What it do?
Ain't nothing, man. Shit, glad to link up and kick it with the family, man. You know what I'm saying? Every time I show up, they be like, "Oh, you back?" I ain't been nowhere, man. I'm getting a sniper rifle. I get my sniper lessons. You know what I'm saying? So I'm in the cut with the sniper rifle. wait for folks to mess up, man. So yeah, man, I'm here to share what I know, learn what I don't know, man. Bang on pseudos as usual, man. So
yeah, that's right. That's real right there. Hey, Juju. What it do? What it do? That magic, that black magic, that juju. What's good with you, Juju?
Chilling. I'm just here, chilling, just trying to, get the folks the proper factual information. It's time to stop, romanticizing and different things of that nature. So we're here to just give you the raw truth. And the truth never has any friends. So we good with that. We could take it.
Yeah, we could take that. We ready for that. Hey, Brenda, PseudoKilla official, man. What it do? What it do? What it do?
Oh man, I tell you what. Yesterday we were in the cockpit for about 12 hours, right? I think this is going to be an interesting sort of replay of some of the things that went on yesterday. Again, right? If you guys aren't a part of that Discord, you got to be a part of that Discord. So we're going to talk a little bit about the listening party that we had with the William Leo Hansberry research synopsis. That was sort of like a 4 or 5 hour event yesterday. Again, right, there was really good participation in the chat, right? We were listening with bated breath to all of the presenters, right? We had some good takeaways, and it was some really poignant conversations with the presenters after that. So, but we'll get into all of that. But yeah, PseudoKillas on deck. Peace.
Yeah, that's right. PseudoKillas on deck. Hey, Kent, boy, I see you in the cockpit, locked and loaded, sitting back, chilling. What's going on, Kent? What it do? What it do? What it do? Full house, you know what it is.
Man, right here, man. My bad took me so long, man. I was getting some things together. You feel me?
Waiting for you. We're gonna wait for
But,
you on the hook.
But yeah, man, right here, man. Appreciate being, you know what I'm saying, in the spot one more again. Ready to do it up. Kill some more pseudos. Who up? Who up next, man?
Man, you know we got it.
He got the guns out tonight. That's what
I saw you. I got my hands on the hip.
I saw you prowling earlier today in these YouTube streets, Kent. So I see you. I see you.
Hey.
Yeah, I was creeping in the bushes, man. I saw some people.
I'll be ducking when I see Kent. I don't want to get shot.
Hey, y'all know what's funny though?
Good, baby.
Yeah.
You know what's funny though? I like to give an old friend of mine some attention. I don't give everybody attention.
Uh-oh.
I don't give everybody attention. I'm gonna give an old friend, Tiffany French. Tiffany's been asking for it. I mean, since the days of the Black Atheists of Atlanta and Real Black Atheists, right? When I beat you half to death in an intellectual gunfight. When you was a Hebrew, I remember you all the way back then. You've come a long way from the days of Team Osiris and days of just going by yourself, Dan. Always appreciate you, but you always been a little slow. Now, sometimes slow is good. I think in your case, slow is good because you catch everything. So I appreciate you more than you do. You cuss me out. I don't get mad because I know where your heart at. You talk ragged about the brand. I don't get mad because I know where your heart at. But you talk too much. You don't even know what you're talking about now. You don't agree with that. If you look at the logo, I'm always red, black, and green. We love the people, right? We love, like, what do you can't be this crazy. You my peoples though. I take the tongue lashing. Don't nobody take her serious when she start to cuss me out, when she do all that. You know what I'm saying? You my people. I'm gonna call you at the show. I just gotta touch you up a little bit. What is it that you're saying? Last time I checked, everybody over here, we stand on Africa like that's easy. We study too much. Dedicated. Yeah. Last time I checked, like the groups dedicated to Africa, West Africa, yo, we did that. We still doing that. The books, we did that. We still doing that. So anybody acting like we don't care for Africa or don't love Africa or didn't look back to Africa to get inspiration, right? Like we misunderstand Africa. It's crazy to me. We read too much. We study too much. Scientific literacy take you right back to Africa. Maybe you need to upgrade. Since you want to be Captain Save a Hoe or Captain Save a Pseudo, right? Then you got to get it with them. Anytime you want to have a conversation, but you got to be ladylike. Can't be cussing. You know, I never cuss you out, Miss Tiff. No, that's not Miss Tiff. That's Tiffany French.
Clean that up. Clean that up.
Clean that up. We talking about Tiffany French. She got a mouth French like a sailor.
I put that French on it, yo.
That French, she put that French on you. That French cuss, it cuss you out. Yeah, but I think she had a nice little group in there. She usually had 3 people. The day she had, how many people she had in there, Ken?
Man, I think I brought about 13 people.
Yeah.
Oh, that was you? That was you, Ken? You was over there?
Yeah, we was outside tonight.
Okay.
You went outside on the block.
Outside.
What was it like? Enlighten me. Like, what
nah, see, you know, man, Tiff cool, man. I pop over there.
Everybody's triggered. Tell them the story. Everybody's triggered about the whole Pan-Africanism
Right.
is dead.
That's
So
my
everybody
favorite.
triggered now.
That's my
So
favorite.
That's your
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And I
We
think
know, so that's why you came out of
Oh,
hiding.
man, yeah.
My favorite right
I
there.
think
It was like, this is my cue, right?
Talk to me. Talk to- the great King Sosa. What's your favorite? I'm listening.
I love that. I love that
Pan-Africanism is
Pan-African
dead. That's his
discussion, man.
favorite.
That,
We know that's why
Well,
me and him
that
always
get folks
boxing.
hot. I swear.
you're right though.
Super
You're
hot.
right though. So
Triggered.
and they don't want to
Super triggered.
they don't want to admit it. You know what I'm saying? So Tiffany was on a rant over there. You know what I mean? Shout out to her though. You know what I mean?
Shout out for the rant. We're gonna call her Tiffany Rant. That's her new name, Tiffany Rant.
Oh my goodness.
Look,
Don't do this just like that. I love Tiffany French.
Yeah, I give
PR.
She keep it going. You know what I'm saying?
She do. She's consistent. We have to say that.
Yeah,
She's tenacious and consistent.
She just
good qualities.
I think she just misunderstands y'all's position because she think y'all anti-African because y'all talk against Pan-Africanism. I don't think she really see what people are really saying about it as far as it not working in 2023. And I think we need to clear that up. Like we really need to have a round table conversation. I invited her to the panel tonight. I don't know if she's gonna show up.
She's a warrior. She'll dive in.
Yeah, I told her
she ain't running.
It might get ugly.
Nah, it ain't go. Nah, it shouldn't get ugly, man. I mean, because we family, so it shouldn't.
Unc and Tiffany, it might get ugly.
I ain't gonna. Nah, you've never seen me different. No.
Okay.
That should be a discussion. Can you not be Pan-African and still have love for Africa? Because apparently there's no middle ground with that. Apparently, if you ain't a Pan-African, then you anti-African.
See, that's what they saying.
No gray area, nothing like that.
So they saying that's not what Pan-Africanism is. Me and you understand the same thing, right? But they saying that ain't what it's about. That ain't how people are, and none of that. So we need to find out.
I personally feel like Pan-Africanism is mischaracterized. So
that's because there's no one set definition or what Pan-Africanism is.
And I don't think there ever will be. I think it depends, you start where you stand and just think it depends on where you are with it and what your goal is, but the ultimate goal is empowerment of Black African people in the diaspora and on the continent. That's where I'm coming from with it. And I'll leave it at that.
If you're against Pan-Africanism, right, you're talking about being anti the approach. Not
anti what?
The approach of the concept, right? Not anti the actual continent. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You look at the approach as being invalid.
Understood.
Yeah.
But listen, PseudoKillas, you all are gonna have the problem of people. They're gonna hear what they want to hear. And that's why I like to feel like I'm the god of the gaps in a sense, on some misunderstanding to explain it on both sides. Because listen, people will hear what they want to hear. They get emotional. That's why we're important to keep it, critical and logical thinking. Just because something may not agree with what you feel, like to understand a person's position and to admit when you can be wrong and they actually may be right. It's hard, but that's what it's going to take for us to evolve and to be able to move forward.
Well,
I'm not saying that.
Hey, let me say this, Juju. Last time I checked, you was Pan-African.
I am.
So I'm saying I always rock the red, black, and the green. So I'm just trying to figure out like RBG, red, black, and the green, like. So you don't think I don't love the people, Black?
I mean,
you don't think I love the
land?
know
you love the people, Bobby.
The land, you know what I'm saying? The land my ancestors died and fought on, America, Africa. The green ain't just for the goddamn Africa. What's wrong with y'all? The land is anywhere African people step foot.
Facts.
They pitch their damn tent for living and survivability and give culture to the damn land. Last time I checked, we gave culture to North America. Y'all forgot? And we did it so well, our culture done went around the world. Now that's Pan-African for your ass. Why you talking to great African-American, Black Americans? Our culture spread around the world. And everybody know it. It don't be, well, it could be. No, they be like, yo, that's African American, yo. Don't be no doubt. Matter of fact, it was African American great thinkers that gave rise to Pan-African. You won't play? How we gonna play this? Y'all won't play? Y'all won't play? Not Marcus Garvey. Huh? He faked y'all out. He hit y'all with the feather hat. Huh? Yeah. Keep playing with me. I'll make it real dirty around here. Y'all won't play? We can play. Kid, nothing about you with the nonsense. Last time I checked, it was a pandemic. A second ago. And they was not ready and they was not fit. There was a quote unquote civil rights movement. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Big up. Martin Luther King. I don't hear all that. Don't talk me to death with that nonsense. Upgrade your thing, because your thing wasn't ready for that virus thing. It was unfit to serve Black people in North America. It was unfit. The fitness level wasn't there. The sophistication wasn't there. Too much talkity talk after a complete loss. Come on, man. Where was you? Want to hear all that? Come on, man. We grown. We can talk grown. We grown. It's okay, man. Black nationalism, all that shit was not ready for the virus, dog. It wasn't ready. It wasn't even ready to accept, quote unquote, what we would say, what y'all call white man science. Now, how crazy is that? It's crazy. Last time I checked, white boys went to Africa, right? And recorded science that was taking place in Africa. Last time I checked, nobody murmured that. Nobody worried about, we ain't gonna mess with that geometry because that's them black, that's that Egyptian, that's them brown skin. We definitely ain't doing that. I'm pretty sure it was some cavemen, but we ain't gonna do that. Oh, like, really, is this where the intellect is gone? Like, we clearly know, come on, I was in a cult for 5 years, it was a mistake. Everything they was talking about was wow. It was a mistake. It made you, at the end of the day, it made you a walking contradiction. We all been through it. It's stages of development. I told you, Kent, I say Kent. What we got here, bro, scientific literature, everybody ain't gonna be able to do it.
Yeah.
I tried to tell you, dog. Listen, I was on dope, yo, for a good 15, 16 years of my life, yo. And everybody couldn't make it off of dope. See, being strung out on drugs, whether you shot the shit, sniffed the shit, smoked the shit, drunk the shit, because last time I checked, alcohol is a drug. Huh? Yeah, alcohol is a drug. Wow, yeah, alcohol is a damn drug. Most people ain't getting off that shit. It decimated the whole Native American population. Alcohol rum was definitely the process of enslaving Africans. Go read it, type in rum and slavery while we're playing, because that was the byproduct from the sugar cane, right? After they processed the sugar cane, the byproduct was the shit they made the rum out of. Come on, dog, I'm on my A game.
Yeah.
So I'm saying most people that I know that I grew up with that was on drugs, yo, they couldn't get off. And then my best friends that was on drugs, you know what I'm saying, and got off the quote unquote heroin, you know what I'm saying, and the cocaine, you know what I mean, they still drink or they still smoke. Nigga, I stopped all that shit. I ain't bragging. I'm just saying it's a certain mentality. It's a certain, and everybody ain't gonna be able to get, because to get off of drugs, yo, you gotta look inside your motherfucking self and take personal goddamn accountability. And every time you say it's the white man's fault, the white man did it, you're not ready to take personal accountability. It's my job as a person who is taking personal accountability.
I'm saying, but do you do know who the enemy is, though?
The enemy,
you know,
lose sight of that, right?
Don't get twisted. Do you know who the enemy is?
Hey, yo, I remember telling that to I was telling my Black Power days. I remember telling that to one day. I was like, yo, Unc, but the white man, the enemy, man. He was like, he ain't the enemy, Kent. I was like,
no, the Wazungle, right? Who was saying that today? The Wazungle? What is that?
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
And man, look, and I started realizing, yo, the white man ain't the enemy, yo. Like, white people ain't hurting us, man. I mean, you got your few. You got your ones.
You always got people
You got, oh, what's up, Reggie? You got people in every race, ethnicity, culture that'll try to hurt you. You know what I'm saying? It's individuals at the end of the day.
You know who the enemy is, yo. Man, I fight. Listen, man, it's about fighting from within, yo. Like you can be your own worst enemy, yo. And at this point, yo, we've become our own worst enemy.
Facts.
Right? And that's okay. That's part of the human experience, though, man. That's just a part of the human experience. And we understand how European culture differed. We understand how under their culture contained they enslaved people. We get that. Like, we ain't tripping, but we understand that African people, the original people, yo, you know what I'm saying, been on planet Earth longer than anybody. We had a chance to work out our pseudoisms. Think about that. African people has been on the Earth long enough, dog. Trust me, we went through the first people that came out killing people was African people. Y'all tripping. Wasn't nobody there but African people.
Another trigger.
But it was the truth.
It's another trigger, though.
Yo, you can't be original, right? You know what original mean, right?
You the first.
You the first. So as you looked in the face of the other human being, he looked like you, dog. Might have different variations, yo, but it wasn't no white people. You don't get white people, you don't get that pale gene, right, to actually catch a fire. I said catch a fire. We were around what, 18,000, 10, 15,000, dog. So for damn near 350,000 years, yo, you was looking at yourself, dog.
Right.
Fighting. Everything you went through the human experience to the point where you started to develop rules and regulations off the shit you was doing. You can read this shit, Kim, and they say don't sleep with another man's wife, so somebody had to be sleeping with somebody's wife. Yo, they say don't do certain homosexual acts, right? So somebody had to been doing it. Like, why would you have the treaties against something if you wasn't doing it? We don't need it. Oh, the foreigners brought it in. Knock it off with that. L3 is a warrior clan, and they conquered planet Earth, murdering and killing people, yo. You do not walk up to somebody. You do not walk up to Neanderthal and say, how you doing, sir? You kill him. Hey.
Ask questions later, right?
Hey, Brendan.
And as well as dealing with the goods and the bads of the religious concepts as well, which sort of lends credence to the discussion tonight a bit.
That's right.
Right, in terms of us being some of the very earliest, right, to go through the ringer, put these concepts through the ringer in terms of what is acceptable, what is right, in terms of all of this, right? We talked about the afterlife, right? This whole concept of the afterlife and what it means, right, and what that is, and again, right, we talked about this whole concept of what it means to be in the afterlife, right? It's different in terms of the social stratification, right? The afterlife meant different things to different people, right?
Hey, well, Brendan, play the music. That was the pre-show, yo. Play,
right.
Yo. Oh, here,
let's do it,
music, man. Go ahead,
right,
man.
Let's kick off the commercial. Actually, does Brother Reggie has something to add right before we do that?
Yeah, thank you so much, Brendan. I really appreciate it, and definitely appreciate Brother Ankh and Ken and Juju. And let me say this conversation has allowed me to crystallize a lot of things that I have read and a lot of things that I've heard from my teachers. The most important thing is that the things that some of you have actually said, I'm just going to say it a different way. Everything started in Africa. Mm-hmm. Every crime, every sense of unity, funeral practices, everything started there. Mm-hmm. So there's the most diversity there. The younger people of Africa, right, they had to deal directly with nature, right? When they killed an animal, it was for a purpose, right? To defend themselves or to eat. And that transitioned into rules about whether you killed something young or you killed something old or you killed something that is going to kill you, right? Sometimes they walked away, sometimes they killed. They applied those concepts with their neighbors, right? Now, we are in 2023. what I have realized, and Ankh says it, and sometimes I just listen. I just listen, and I don't take it to heart. My teacher was Dr. Leonard Jeffries. He introduced me to Professor Small. He introduced me to Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark. And I worked with all of them. On Pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism is, I'm going to say it on the show, and I'm going to have a lot of enemies, but I already have a lot of enemies. Pan-Africanism is an idea. Mm-hmm. Dr. Clark says that it's a spirituality. Mm-hmm. Now that's problematic. When it becomes a spirituality, then rules don't apply. Rules don't apply. And I will show you Thursday or so when Dr. John Henry Clark moved from.
Keep your powder dry a little bit. Keep your powder dry. So let's jump into the commercial, and then we're gonna be right back. Yep, for sure.
I lost my powder.
Right.
Put some wood on that shit. We trying to start the damn show. You got plenty of time. Start closing them eyes.
I took my glasses off.
I did him with the lecture, yo. Normally I don't, like to talk on the track, but I was just thinking the other day, I'm like, damn, niggas be hating on a nigga, man, and we trying to figure out like why they be hating on low. But then I learned, in order to understand the motherfucker, you gotta look at things from their perspective, put yourself in their shoes. That's how I came. They say Soulja from the hood.
I got one of them shoes.
He had the noodles on the stove, he looking too good. Living in the house, fireplace, he burning the wood, riding in that mirror every day, yeah, just like he should. Bitch, I would if I could, but I hate that nigga. Ain't that nigga, make it look easy, look how break that nigga. Quarterback like Breeze, but he ain't no fucking saint, nigga. I can do it too, but I'm mad cause I can't, nigga. Look at him,
the brand.
We should've killed him long ago, now look how he living. This steady winning, yeah, I'm losing, but I chose struggle. Skinning and grinning, he a real nigga, man, but fuck no taking Henny, he got a bad habit. A queen stay on his arm, with his granddaddy named Peter Rabbit, fuck him. Nigga don't trust him, yeah, he solid as steel, but that money gon' rust him, and too many people love him. I mean, I can understand, goddamn, when a nigga winning, and you losing, you kind of be feeling some type of way and shit, but I'm like, let's all get this money, you know what I'm saying? They continue to goddamn, but that ain't none of my business. But this is just me. It's dedicated to them hater nation, man. You know what I'm saying? He a dirty nigga. Bitch and give him back like he ain't heard of niggas. Ain't scared of niggas. He was raised by the young and fearless. When's the last time you seen this nigga? Yeah, he think he clean. When you pull up on the scene with his feelings missing. Sociopathic, but I wouldn't want my car next to his in traffic. And at me he's laughing. It's like he's pricing. I'm the passion. It's like he's packing and I'm the one that's lacking. Fatal attraction, affirmative action. Hey, hell nah, nigga can't be. He just made another chess move I can't see. He probably feel like this Nintendo, he the game genie. On FB, he always talking shit, I'm about to be leaked. You see me, never see eye to eye. His circle small, but he always dividing the pie. I can't lie, but fuck him. Nigga don't trust him. Yeah, he's solid as steel, but them haters gon' rust him. Man, too many people love him. Yeah, man, damn, that's how y'all feel? Shit, I mean, what can I do? I mean, hey, I want us all to eat, you feel me? But everybody can't win, it gotta be a loser. So, I mean, shit, fuck it. This shit was jamming. I like, classic shit. Goddamn, about to pull up, do say in the cup. Cause I don't give a fuck. It's all love though. Yeah. Yeah. Knuckle. Yeah. Okay. Oh, we still going. Shit. That's what I'm talking about. Let's get it.
Okay, kid. I like that. That's a little bop. That's a bop.
Yeah, and we working on another intro as we speak. Shout
Can I do the hook on it?
Yeah.
Hot. That was hot. Hey, let's get
It
right
was
to
hot.
business. Let's get right to business. Juju, go ahead and get that article up.
Support the Abjaware store.
Support the Abjaware.
Definitely support the Abjaware.
Let's get it.
I got my sweater, boy. It's tight too.
Hey, Kent, did you get your tracking number?
Did I get the who?
Tracking number.
Nah.
Boy, they must have robbed the store. Yo.
I wasn't gonna say nothing. I was like, yo, where my money at?
Last week, oh my, okay. You see, I know you weren't gonna say nothing.
I know you ain't, I know you ain't, you know what I mean?
I ran off.
Nah. I know you ain't like that.
Boy, the fifth of Thunderbird, yo. Let me stop, yo. All right, let's get so y'all see the title of the show,
Hey,
right?
I know you ain't did me like your boy.
Sound alarm and it ran off with the cake.
So petty.
I took that. No.
Right? Yo, kid, that was the funniest thing ever, though. I took it.
Took
Giving
that.
you shit.
What you gonna do about it?
I love it. That was a classic. I love it. Anyway,
Yeah,
so
you know how online stuff is, man. I don't.
it's all good.
It's just
We ain't gonna address it though. You did whatever. It is what it is.
Nah, you talking about Juju talking about something.
Yeah, I know, Juju, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't
Oh, you know what I'm talking about?
Hashtag. Yo, I'm saying I did what I did. I meant it.
Not fan in flames, man.
I'm glad you. Look, I'm
Let's
glad
get this show rolling, man.
I'm glad you took it though.
Let's get this show rolling, man. See what I'm saying? Y'all fan in flames. Let's get this show rolling.
It was pseudo anyway.
Let's get this show rolling, man.
I'm done.
No,
I'm done. Okay, I'm not gonna be a troublemaker, but I'm gonna get to it. You know, I would actually just like try to maybe share the source in the chat for people to read and dissect it on their own. That's what PseudoKillas do. You know what I'm saying? They never hold everything to themselves. They share the source. That's what it's about, sharing the information. So Dying to Serve is actually the name of the article or paper that I'm going to read a few things from. It is called Dying to Serve: The Mass Burials at Kerma. It's by Margaret Judd and Joel Irish. The reason why we're doing this is because when we did have the chance to be involved in that symposium and sit in the Zoom chat, we had the opportunity to engage with the experts, archaeologists, anthropologists, whatnot, and the majority of them look like me and you, meaning they were Black, brown people of West African descent, whatever you want to call it, okay? So we don't want to hear nothing about, you know, what the white man said, this, that, and the other. Thus, this paper is by a, you know, Caucasian woman, and there were others on the panel too that were Caucasian, but welcomed, and their expertise is still considered valid because, you know, science has no color. All right, you take what's good and you leave the bad.
Real quick, Juju, can y'all kind of discuss? I would like to discuss the conversation before we read the paper, because the paper was given to us. So let's kind of, you know, let's talk about the discussion, right? It was a great panel. Reggie called me up, make sure I listen to it. Yeah, Reggie, I didn't know these PseudoKillas gonna dive on there and ask the hard questions, right? Yeah, they dove on with it, and you know, the brothers, it was actually a good show. It was some things I felt like I don't know about, but you know what I'm saying? They throw that flavor on certain things, right? Some of them, but overall, generally, it was a great, scholarly discussion, right? And it was the after show they had, okay? And then that after show, Brandon and them got on the panel. And they asked questions. What's your man name, Reggie? I can't hear you.
Mario.
Salim Faraji.
Salim Faraji.
Yeah, Salim Faraji, Mario Beatty.
So that's still your man, though, right?
Yeah, that's one of my main man. You my main man, but he's my main man.
Why you bluffing? You know you gotta bring him on to talk about. Ain't no in between.
He's not coming on. He's not coming on our shows for something earlier, some earlier things that happened. So you're not coming on the shows. Y'all done forgot in the early things. Y'all start talking.
You talking about with Garfield? Was that it?
Yeah, social media. I'm not saying any person, but I'm just saying that give a person, well, talk behind the scenes with a person. Don't, a person's in academia, they're fighting to stay in academia. They got enemies,
Right.
and we become their enemies. And so they can't say that they have the support that they say they have. And so people wrecking people's careers. Early mistakes we make.
All right. So
Understood.
anyway, you know, Farazi, I mean, how you say it? I want to say his name right.
Dr. Faraji. Salam
Farazi.
Faraji.
He likes to hook everything up with West Africa. You know, making sure we understand the cultural continuity. And it come out of his mouth. Brendan, Juju, what did that man say?
Okay, so from my interpretation of what he said.
No, we don't want your interpretation. We want what he said.
I mean, sacrifice occurred in Africa and in West Africa at that point at later periods of time. And so, I mean, it's not like it didn't. It occurred. Human sacrifice, that is.
And one of the interesting things that I think that sort of segued into or made his comments sort of particularly relevant regarding this topic is that during his presentation, during the William Leo Hansberry research synopsis, he had a slide on there that showed one of the burial tumuli from Balana, Nubia, right? And he mentioned during his presentation, some of the remains that were recovered from that tumuli were the what you would call the retainers, right? He mentioned that during the presentation, and when we had that opportunity to actually jump on the panel discussion with the experts, that was sort of how we initially led the question, right? Because we were like, okay, well, brother Salim Faraji, you mentioned this in your presentation, right? And then also, you know, Brenda Baker was there as well, right? She's a they call an osteoarchaeologist, right? So essentially the analysis of bones and these types of things. So her particular area of expertise is very targeted and specific, right? We mentioned her. It's like in terms of some of her research that she's done on said subject. We said, okay, well, you know, here's your particular stance, and we left the questions very open and broad, deliberately, right? In terms of what would be you guys' sort of understanding regarding retainer sacrifices in both ancient Egypt and in Nubia, right? So we didn't confine the question to one cultural region, right? We wanted to make that question as broad as possible, right? So in terms of some of the feedback, it was very, very interesting feedback from Shayla Moreau. She actually, you know, she was actually the first person
to respond.
Respond to the question. Juju, I don't know if you want to maybe give some insight in terms of her response to the question.
Well, what I have to say is, so I posed a question as a text in the first Zoom. Brandon actually got on the panel in the second Zoom. How I worded it was a little different. Brandon allowed room for them to expound both Nubia and Kemeter Egypt. I pretty much stuck to pre-dynastic Egypt in the early dynasties. Like I didn't even, you know, give like, oh, the first or second. I just said early because I wanted them to expound on how far or how, you know, not far it went. You get what I'm saying? So that's how we were posing the questions. We're very careful to pose a question in the sense that we didn't create any biasness in the answer, so we can get all of the meat. But Shayla Monroe proceeded to say exactly that sacrifice, you know, during these funerary, what you call ceremonies, started with animals, but then they would progress to humans. Point blank, that's what she said. Right. So I don't know how anybody can say otherwise. When I posed a question, go ahead, Brandon.
No, and then sort of after that, right? I think you know, that's when Salim Faraji sort of started going into, you know, his response to the particular question, right? again, just
which was
right. In terms of like what Unc was saying, right? He does a really good job of connecting that West African and the East African continuity. And what he mentioned, he said, okay, well, yes, in terms of what he mentioned over in Balana, right? Here's his particular, stance on said subject. And he also had some interesting comments in terms of what some of the traditions in Ghana, West Africa, right? So he mentioned this statement in terms of over in Ghana that it was this folklore tradition. It says when the king dies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm paraphrasing. When the king dies, right? You should be careful not to be out late.
Outside.
Right.
Yeah, he said, "Don't
right.
be outside."
Right, exactly. Right. Lest you be what you would say volunteered.
Right. Oh, that's exactly what he said.
Lest you be volunteered to accompany him in the afterlife, right?
Right.
That was one of the so that was an interesting piece there, right? Of course, mm-hmm. Right. And then I think Brenda Baker, she had an opportunity to weigh in, right? And when she weighed in, she's just like, okay, well, yeah, I feel sort of responsible to weigh in because you called me out, right? Mm-hmm. And to be fair, right? Yeah, and to be fair, right? She did. We know her stance, right? She stands on the fact that in terms of her expertise as a osteoarchaeologist, where is the physical proof of the sacrifice? Right. She wants to see that physical evidence of that sacrifice. And she mentioned, right, in terms of Reisner, because Reisner was the first archaeologist to put this particular hypothesis forward. Right. Correct. Right.
George Reisner, that is, for the people in the audience.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And I think this sort of goes to the article that we're going to talk about. Right. But she did expound on the need for us to update and re-examine Reisner's stances on said position as well, right? And then what she did, which was very interesting, she pointed us towards Margaret Judd, right?
She did.
Yes, exactly. And her work on said subject, because there was a lot of banter back and forth between Faraji, Monroe, Baker, and Ashby. Exactly. All of them, they were so, and it was a very sort of interesting. I think how long did we cover? It was almost 30 minutes. We talked about this particular question almost 30 minutes, and it was some interesting banter back and forth in terms of that. And they said, we know that this is a polarizing question, right? This question is even polarizing in our research group, right?
It's still strong amongst Egyptologists today. It's still
absolutely,
it is
absolutely.
So did she lay out what, in terms of proof, what she would be looking for? Like we know what trauma, other retainer sacrifices look like.
She wants to see the evidence of trauma, right? How did they die? She wants to see that the cause of death. Right, as an osteoarchaeologist, she wants to see that cause of death, right? Because
but don't they have evidence of certain cases of individuals throat being slit?
That's what I'm about to say.
But what she did say, right? We have to be honest as well. She said that although we don't see evidence of trauma in all the recovered remains, right, we do see evidence of trauma in some of these remains. Right. And again, that's when she pointed us to the Margaret Judd article that we're going to sort of overview now, because it talks about the evidence of trauma in the Kerma burials. Right. This is the Kerma burials from Reisner's 1923 archaeological expedition.
Can I ask?
Yes, please do, Reggie.
All right. So we have evidence of ceremonies up until the 1950s and 60s in sub-Saharan Africa, Sudan. And these are the Nilotic people. And the Nilotic people would have been the parents. They would have been at the time period of the ancient Egyptians, meaning the ancient Egyptians would talk to them about their customs. Many of them became Egyptian based on ethnicity. And then after Egypt died, they survived because they ran south against the Arabs. I will show in my presentation from the Shylock, the Nur, the Dinka, but largely from the Shylock, their customs and traditions. It seemed to be a caste system where that was you were always prepared to do that job, right? When that job happens, you're like the acquaintance, and you will go with the king to the afterlife. And it seemed to be a caste system. So it seemed to be more of, in some regards, assisted suicide during this very, very climatic situation where a king dies. And so there's a lot of issues going on. There's competing who will be the next king. There will be there'll be issues with the hereditary cattle, right? Families, right, wanting their inheritance of the cattle. And then there's, the people who want to go to war. Like if you look at Wakanda, there's always standing tribes that are always competing for who is going to be the king of Wakanda. With that said, in the Shylock tradition, the first thing that happens is 2 women are selected and they get shut in the house of the king, and the house is closed and then they die, right? That's just one of the traditions. The king always dies with 2 women, and that's just their culture. And it seems that they were part of a caste. I'll stop, but I do want to let you know, if you look in the living traditions of closely related Africans of the Nile Valley, you in fact find that. So it wouldn't be that people's throats would be cut, because many of these societies, they have these admonitions: you do not kill, in like for the dead. But then you have people that put pressure on you because where are you going to be in a society if you don't fulfill your job? So that's your job, right? It's your caste, right? It's something that you're born into or you go into. And so if you're part of that caste, most likely it would be of that caste, that particular ethnic group would give up their lives because that's their job. I'll stop.
All right, Unc, you want to jump into the article, or?
Yeah, I want to. Okay, there was a. Go ahead. You was great. Say something, Sosa.
No, it's all good. I'll wait. Let's go. I don't want to put the pause. We get to the article.
You agree or disagree with what I'm saying?
No, I don't disagree. I was going to talk about something. I wasn't going to disagree with you.
Yeah. So there was a person in the conversation. All right, that Sadiq. Now, Sadiq talked about, what's the lady's name, Juju? The Sadiq, just
Brenda Baker.
Brenda, I want to say her name. What's her name again?
Brenda Baker.
Yeah, Brenda Baker.
Now, Sadiq was like, Brenda Baker, Brenda Baker, Brenda Baker, Brenda Baker, Brenda Baker, Brenda Baker. He put emphasis on Brenda Baker, right? I think Brenda Baker studied the bones. Brendan, am I right?
Yes. Yes.
All right, and we had a whole about the yellow
bones.
teeth.
Yes, it's the bones, both the bones that were recovered from the tomb of King Horoha. Right. She had, as well as others, right? Like one of our favorites, one of our archaeological favorites. What's his name that does I don't know if Wingro had a chance.
David Wingro? Oh,
no, I don't think it was Wingro. Who is it? It was it's the African American guy that does the lectures. We're always talking about him. Nope.
Dr. Chiata.
Dr. Chiata.
Oh, Soy Chiata.
Soy Chiata. Yeah, thank you. I had a brain fart. Yes, exactly. So Chiata actually had an opportunity to review the remains there as well.
Yes. So this person was supposed to be the expert over the experts. Am I correct in this, or am I tripping?
Dr. Chiata?
No.
Brenda Baker.
The osteoarchaeologist. Brenda Baker.
She the one. She was the Penn State. He said all that. And so she was there. It was like a gift from the ancestors brought her there. I don't know how she got there. I don't know how she got there. And she said, that's their lifeline now. Don't forget it, that Brenda is the lifeline to this whole conversation, and Brenda's the one with the piece. She said, well, wait a minute, there's somebody that's more qualified than me. Am I making this up?
what was asked of her is if she could provide me with access to any of her papers or any of her work on said subject matter. And she, quote unquote, said, I have not published yet, and then proceeded to tell me to look forward to Margaret Judd. She said that. Then later on in the chat, Dr. Ashby, Solange Ashby, provided me with the link to Margaret Judd and Joseph and Joel. What did I keep forgetting his last name.
Joel Irish.
Joel Irish. She provided the link that's on Academia EDU or whatever to this said paper.
Okay, so we here now. So let's read the person, right? That few people in the server Sadiq was saying it. The only one of the few, it was Sadiq was saying, I think Smash Rock was like, yeah, that's the one. Bet. So let's read, right, the paper, right, that she suggested we read. This is what we at. See, this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where we drop this right here, and we start talking about the cosmos. We're gonna let them have it. Let's see what the lady said. The lady, Miss Brenda. Brenda had a baby. Let me stop. All right, let's go.
So I want to add something to this though.
Absolutely, go ahead.
The reason for the paper itself was actually to try to falsify the evidence and information that was laid by George Reisner. And somebody also said in the chat, and it's true that Shayla Monroe.
Well, you put yourself on mute.
Put yourself on mute. You're on mute.
Y'all funny. None of y'all said that brother told the people, y'all don't help Brother Reggie because, I'm working, I work in the background trying to coordinate the Nile Valley Collective, trying to get, well, not trying to coordinate them, but trying to get us reference to these people, to the curators and stuff like that. And I want to let them know that I helped get all of us on because they need an audience.
I meant to do that, Jude. I hate you by mistake. Come on, Jude.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So I just want to repeat. So Monroe did suggest that, and Marcus wrote this, that we should re-examine everything from 50 years and back. Okay, so this is what Margaret Judd and Joel Irish did. They examined some of the work that George Reisner set forth to try to falsify the evidence and information. Basically, it couldn't be. So this was the
point. Say it again.
This paper was basically looking to kind of like falsify George Reisner's information.
Okay.
In
what you're supposed to do. What you're supposed to do.
What you're supposed to do in science,
Absolutely.
right? It's science. No absolutes. Has to be falsifiable. So they looked to do that, and they looked at all the evidence. They even went to where the site that they were speaking of, the remains of some 300 specimens are held at this one museum, and they went and examined that, and they did all these extensive data collection or recollecting of the data.
So Brendan, listen, Brendan gonna get into all that. He gonna get into the deep. But keep going though, and then we're gonna get right to this conclusion right here.
Do you want me to go ahead and read the conclusion now?
No, I want you to read the let's read the abstract and then the conclusion.
The introduction, you mean?
Well, you can read, it's the abstract right here though. Then after the abstract, introduction.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So yeah, got it. So it says high-ranking burial mounds in Bronze Age Sudan featured burials in a corridor leading to the central burial, supposedly of a king, where the corridor people, quote unquote, prisoners captured during periodic raids on Egypt, or local retainers who followed their king in death. So they're trying to, figure it out still. The author used the skeletal material to argue the second hypothesis, coincidentally that advanced by George Reisner, the original excavator.
All right, so we know who Reisner is. They talked about Reisner yesterday. They talked about the need to make sure that when we're looking at this evidence, that we have, the lady literally said, I forget what was the name. She said we need to look at it in the African perspective. And she used the word colonial. What was that word?
Oh, coloniality.
Coloniality. It was an interesting concept. I didn't agree with everything, but a lot was spot on.
That was my favorite conversation. It was Blackology like a mofo. I loved it.
Okay, so let's
coloniality.
Let's come to the conclusion. Let's see if there's some if and buts about it, right? Since they want to play the if and buts about it, and then Brendan's going to get into the all right, let's get it right here. We want right here. Okay. Let's get to the conclusion. Now, let's see what they're saying about this. Now, there's a reason why this is actually important for my work. I don't know about nobody else. For the last 2.5 years, I've always made the statement based off of Dr. Ben's work, and I'm telling y'all right now, Dr. Ben made the statement. He said, Nubia is the mother of Egypt. Now, Reggie, am I saying that right?
You're absolutely correct.
Okay.
Now,
so, but it took me years to actually put it together like I really wanted it, because it sounds crazy, right? But it's actually not. And the way he said it was like in a metaphorical way. What he was basically saying was that there's traditions and customs that are deep rooted in the South, in Sudan. Simple as that. There is no way around that. And, you know, we've read on this and we talked about that. Not every damn thing, because you got the Western Desert, Eastern Desert, right? But we're talking about things like the kingship. We got the archaeological surveys on it, Costul, we argued that, the crown, all that, Jabul, everything we argued about that, the death. My thing was always the death and burial practices. How in Sudan and how in the Old Kingdom, they murdered each other roughly. Mm-hmm. That's always been my argument. And everybody that was on his side fighting for Africa agreed. They agreed right up to the moment that they started to realize what the rituals was. Then it all went out the window, and now we're here right now. Read that conclusion, sis.
Before I want to point out a point of contention, though, why people, you know, are saying, well, they just don't know. And it's said in the paper, and I'm going to start right before the conclusion. It says, ethno-historic accounts and material culture exist to help elucidate ritual and dedicatory sacrifice among some ancient cultures, such as the Incas and the Mochi. But that is not the case at Kerma. So the lack of documentation by the Kushites, Egyptians, or any other historical chroniclers do not permit the isolation of a single motive for the classical Kerma mass instruments. So I do know, even in the field of Egyptology and even in our discussions, that's one of the points that, like Sadiq and Smash and other people have brung up. I have heard it early in the conversation that there are no ethno-history, there are no depictions of it, but you clearly see this in other cultures who that we can outrightly say did human retainer sacrifice, and you know, the Mayan culture, the Inca culture. So that's one of the problems, okay? So in conclusion, there were neither signs of violent premortem skeletal trauma. Premortem means right before death, such as cut marks, multiple bludgeoning or stab wounds, nor obvious patterns of antemortem trauma or postmortem treatment. So antemortem would have been before death. Premortem, antemortem, almost the same, but not quite. Antemortem, they can also see signs of healing and things of that nature. That's how they can differentiate between the two. Within the quarter and subsidiary burial contexts, craniometric analysts established the phonetic similarity of these groups. Similarly, the burial configuration was predominantly Kushite, and the artifacts indigenous to Kush were found in both contexts, with many artifacts indicative of international trade or the debris of Egyptian plunder. The corridor people were selected or volunteered to accompany the king to his afterlife, and they reflected the composition of Kerma society and the magnitude of the king's authority. The likelihood is that George Reiner, was in fact correct. That is the conclusion.
Right. So we're not sitting up here and acting like, and I think this is important right here. It says the corridor people were selected or volunteered to accompany their king to his afterlife. And they reflected what? The composition of Kerma society and the magnitude of the king's authority. Right. The likelihood is that Reisner was in fact correct. So now, Brendan, can you kind of get into it? You want to talk about like the in-betweens, the data, the information that you know, the conversations that they was having in the paper over what was this, what was that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. And let me just say too, in that sentence when they said the composition, talking about how reflected the composition reflected Kerma society. They're talking about that the people were indigenous people, not like they grabbed foreigners. Those are all.
But that's an interesting piece there because if you actually stroll back to the top, Unc, and I want to kind of dig into this just a little bit deeper in terms of some of the technical pieces, because, you know, in terms
are you going to talk about the symbolization of how they structured the grave site?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Right. I wanted to touch on that because I thought that was interesting.
Yep.
We'll have a discussion around that. We'll have a discussion around that. Go ahead, Brendan. And then, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You can get in. Let's have a discussion around that. That's good.
Right.
Everybody read the paper. All
yep.
right.
So
everybody read it. We read it. We just read the introduction and the conclusion.
So in terms of what they're talking about here, right?
Where you want me to go
there's right. You can just go to the very top, right? So in terms of what they're discussing here, Reisner's original work, right, regarding the excavation of the Kerma site, right? It's titled Excavations at Kerma. It's a 1923 work, right? And regarding that particular site, there's two hypotheses, I guess you would say, rivaling hypotheses, right? There's Reisner's original hypothesis that those people, the remains of those people were indeed retainer sacrifices. That is the original hypothesis of the excavator, right? Then the second hypothesis is what we call the captive hypothesis. The idea, I'll back up just a little bit. There's what we call, there's an internal, there's what they call a subsidiary grave area, and then there's a corridor grave area, right? And what they're doing, they're comparing the archaeological remains between the corridor area and the subsidiary area of the peoples, right? Because that's just the grave structure of the tumuli, right? So those competing hypotheses is what's being tested in this particular paper, right? And to test those two hypotheses against each other, right, in terms of which one of those correct, they use three methods, right? So the first method is talking about the frequency of skull trauma, right? So what they did, they wanted to do analysis of skull trauma, right, between the people in the subsidiary areas and the corridor areas to determine if skull trauma was indeed different from there. Because the hypothesis is that, you know, if these are captives or prisoners of war, that they would have undergone additional abuse or violence, right? So that's one of the first things that they wanted to do. They basically analysis for trauma in the remains. The second one is genetic relatedness, right? If these people are indeed genetically related, and they're doing that through cranial analysis, right? More than likely, if these people are genetically related, and you can prove that through cranial analysis, right, that lends credence to that these are indeed Kushite or Kerma people, right? And more than likely weren't captives or POWs, right? The third the third test, right, was the burial rites. How were these people positioned in their burial? Were these people positioned in the traditional Kushite tradition in terms of the body orientation, right? Because we know that the Kushites buried their people, right, facing the east and all this thing, the posture of the bodies as well, right? And the subsequent grave goods that were accompanied those bodies. That's one of the reasons, or one of the ways they determine if these are native Kushite people, right? Yeah. So those are sort of the three tests that they did, right? So in terms of the trauma analysis, if you kind of scroll down, let's see, which page is this on? The trauma analysis. And again,
That's got
right. I like this. Yeah, the archaeological context. It just kind of talks about the burial sites, kind of gives you the overview of the cemetery area, the materials that were there, everything. It gives you a map of exactly, this is around the between the 4th and the 5th cataract. This is the location. So all of this is interesting material. Again, you can go back and read this. So keep scrolling, right? This is just giving us a backdrop, right? Materials, keep scrolling.
That's a good one right there.
Yep, exactly. We're talking
Right
about
there.
the sacrificial corridor, right?
Mhm.
The subsidiary corridor and the sacrificial corridor. So these are different sort of locations where the bodies were actually buried, right? So they're comparing these the remains of the people in these separate areas of this funeral complex. So keep scrolling down. Up, down, you're going the wrong way. Yep, keep going down. All right, well, there you go. Trauma analysis, right? So in terms of the trauma analysis that they did, right, what was discovered is that there was no real difference, right, in terms of the levels, the percentages of trauma, right, between people in those different corridor areas, right? So that was the result of the first test. They were saying, okay, well, it's not that they didn't see any trauma. There was a percentage of trauma that they did actually see, and what they contributed to. This is like normal, I guess you would say, social, things, regular levels of violence.
Rigmarole.
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
People knocking each other around, all right? You know what I'm saying? That happens within social communities, right? So there was nothing that stood out from the trauma analysis piece, right? So that's one of the first interesting things. So that didn't necessarily pass muster in terms of those people being captives or
Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly, right? If you keep scrolling, the next one is the craniometric analysis piece, right? And in terms of the craniometric analysis, what they did find, right, exactly, what they did find, right, and they compared males to males and females to females, right, is that they did indeed find a high level of genetic affinity amongst the people in the grave areas, right? Which lends credence to the idea that these weren't foreigners. These were indeed Kerma people. These were indeed people from that particular area, right? So the last piece, if you keep going, right, that's where the burial rites, right? The results of when they went through the burial rites, they said that these people were buried in the traditional Kerma style and orientation, right? You said when they saw the bodies, the bodies were buried, they're positioned towards the east, similar to how the Nubians would do. They were adorned with those traditional Kushite grave goods, right? Exactly, the alabaster, you see here, the bronze toiletries, the jewelry, the daggers, right? All of that stuff was consistent in terms of how they would bury Kushite and Kerma people. Right. So they had all of that. And through all three of those tests, what they did, right, they said that, yes, all of this particular evidence gives credence to Reisner's original hypothesis that these people were indeed retainer sacrifices. And that's the conclusion of the paper.
Juju, you want to add something? And then Sosa.
So I'm a visual person, and what I found interesting is I always got caught up in the pictures. So if you can show the figure 4 for me, that's where it's the big circle.
Okay.
It's
Next
page
right
713. Yeah. So this is what the subsidiary graves, the corridor. This is what the site looked like. And this basically overall, this was a representation of the king's status. So everything he was in life was everything he was going to be in death. So they basically set it up how he was set up in life. Like the king is over here in the middle, kind of set aside. And then you have the population of the people, well, the important noble figures, the corridor people that was in the corridor, which would be like his family, noble people, things of that nature, priests, whatnot, the professionals of the society, so to speak, or his entourage. And then the subsidiary graves were just, the regular people of the society, okay? The rest of his kingdom. And then the ox skulls, that was a representation of the magnitude of his, wealth and power. So the grave site itself was somewhat symbolic of the king's life and his status in life. And I thought that was interesting. I don't know if anybody cared, but I thought that was fascinating.
It's great. It's great insight.
That's where they got it from. That's the reason why they did that. See, I want to know why they did it. And again, me and talked about this. It wasn't if they did it, it was why and how. Is what archaeologists and scientists are trying to answer. Not if they did, if it happened, why it happened, and how it happened are the questions they're trying to answer. And like I said earlier, it's important that Shayla Monroe spoke on it. Hopefully, we'll get her on the panel one day and she can expound, but I think this is so important when she says that the need to demystify what early human civilizations did, because we're basing it off of our moral perception, and it has nothing to do with that. It was an activity of early humans, and we can't look at it with that kind of moral biasness.
Closer. You bet. Want to add something?
Yeah, I just want to say I dropped the link in the chat to
Hey, drop that link. Drop that link.
I put it in there. I put it in the back chat. It's about a lot of everything that you're showing right here. Also, if you want to get into it more, you want to hear a good lecture on it. There's the Harvard Museum of the Ancient Near East.
Correct.
There's a lecture on it, and a lot of the what you're showing now, the slides and everything, is in that lecture. And she's breaking everything that's being said now. She's breaking it down. She starts from the beginning, and she's working through the whole process. So if you want to get more of an understanding on it, click the video, and then it's probably like 45 minutes long. Just watch the video too. I'm saying to get a more in-depth breakdown of everything that's in
I got some clips from that lecture too.
Yeah, so, always. Yeah, subscribe to Harvard Museum, man. You want to?
I'm quite sure they'll do. Hey, so I'm quite sure they'll do a much better job of the explanation of the article than we can. Absolutely.
Yeah, subscribe to it. Like I always try to find, even when I read it, I always try to find a lecture and then read it, and then I have a real, you know what I mean. So I'm double down good on what I'm reading. So that's how I always do it. So yeah, go ahead.
So all right, let me unshare the screen though. That's we had Kent fell out. Okay, so anything else you want to say, Juju? Because for me, I felt like it was a good read, right? And I appreciate the mining expedition y'all went on amongst these experts. And don't hate me, go hate the experts. Go hate the people who talked about this. Hate the Black people. They was having a actual presentation on the great Leo Hansberry. And I appreciate
the father of African American studies, we can say, so to speak.
Howard University, am I correct?
Yes.
So yeah, one thing about Leo Hansberry is he was taking a look at certain things, and he talked about I kind of seen, and I'm not sure which one of the guys on there he made that mistake. And you say, well, you say the experts, yeah, but I know it was a real mistake. It was trying to say that Kush was quiche. And know, man, we got a brother, man, that's serious on that. We're gonna actually deal with that. And quiche ain't Kush. And I think he talked about that. And I don't know who the guy was, and he messed it up. So yeah, Chuck Morgan, we're gonna have Chuck Morgan come on and explain the quiche part. And come on, man, like he read the stuff. All right. Not saying he's an expert at it, but yeah, he has a good working knowledge and be able to read some of that cuneiform. And see, Chuck gonna play a valuable role going down the damn stretch, because all of those pseudoisms start and end in Mesopotamia. The Anunnaki, Anu, those who made the earth in sets of 12, right? 24 elders, all that stuff, all the words you hear me, that's that stuff right there. And it's the low level conversation. But you go to 5 Keys channel, he's having the high level conversation. Stop it. Zachariah Ascension. We know about all of that. We did that. We read all that was in the Holy Tablets. Anyway, the point is that in that lecture, he made that mistake. But Leo Hansberry first talked about that in one of his first works, and I was reading it. Not one of his first works, I'm not quite sure what work, but he was talking about how that the Southern is a Southern tribe, and it was called Quiche, and it was a little browner than the rest of the tribes. And he said it could be, right? It could have been talking about the Cushites. That's the way Leo played it safe. That's why I just wanted to bring it up, because that whole lecture was actually a celebration of Leo Hansberry, right? Boom. And after show, the PseudoKillas dove in, and yeah, that was a great one. So yeah, we put that link in there. Don't talk me to death in the chat. Get up here and have that conversation. Don't talk us to death.
I want to reiterate that during that whole experience, because we can go back and forth forever. We could say whatever. First of all, I personally don't feel that Brenda Baker is the set all be all to this subject matter, this piece. 1, 2, my question was asked and answered. I asked the question in chat, but it was answered by Dr. Solange Ashby. And 3 other experts chimed in. So if we have to take the scoreboard, it's a 4 against 1 type of thing. If you're saying that Brenda Baker actually said no, it was not retainer sacrifice, that's still a 3 against 1 type of situation, 4 against 1. And I thought in science that we still dealt with the consensus until otherwise proven differently. And from my knowledge, Brenda Baker does not have any published work to say otherwise. From my knowledge, I asked her to give me some material that she has on said subject matter, and she gave me this. So I'm confused to why, people would feel like she would run the other way. I feel like she would run the other way if that's what it was, but she didn't. She pointed
why would she refer you to Judd if Judd's conclusion is the same as Reisner? But what I want to ask though, if she's not aligned with the sacrifice, right? Because they do know that the death and stuff was simultaneous, right? They can't tell that. So what is her theory?
So honestly, for me, it was hard for me to hear her. Her microphone was very muffled. So maybe Brendan can expound on that, or
yeah,
if Sadiq comes in here,
yeah. Her observation is that in terms of not being able to have that specific cause of death, right? And that's what she looks for in her particular area of expertise, right? As that osteoarchaeologist, she wants to see that hard physical evidence of how did they die. Like for instance, we had a brief sort of conversation about the hypothesis that these people may have been strangled, right? One of the things she mentions is like, okay, well, I didn't see any evidence of any scarification on the bones around the skull, right? So that's something that she didn't see. She's like, okay, well, in this particular article, right, from Judd, what they say, okay, well, it could have been what you call soft tissue damage that you may not see in the archaeological evidence, right? But again, she didn't necessarily hit on that. In her stance, she says that we should observe, or we should explore additional possibilities in terms of what could have been, what this may be, right? She didn't put forth her own theory. Exactly. She didn't put anything forth, right? But she said that, okay, well, we should explore other alternative sort of hypotheses, which is always fair.
You gotta put forth one. It's like
right.
You take the facts, like a scientific theory, right? You take the facts, right? And you put forth a scientific theory explaining all the facts, right? And then in order for another theory to come and replace the old, what would be the old one, they would have to put forth a theory that also that explains that deals with everything and encompasses all the facts. You know what I'm saying? It's like basically she don't have a theory. She's just in doubt, basically.
That's it.
Okay.
Unless she has something in her published work that she made.
Well, she's just waiting.
Yes, yeah. That's always a possibility. But again, we have to let science do its thing, right? Let her put forth her work. Let the experts review and weigh in, right?
Yeah, I would thought that she would at least give y'all a little, like, tell you what it is. But then the fact that she referred you to Margaret Judd is kind of telling you that.
Yeah, that was the interesting thing.
That's kind of
it's like, okay,
yeah.
well, I don't have anything published. Here, take a look at this, but keep in mind it goes against what I'm saying, right? So that was yeah. But again, that doesn't surprise me because this is the prevailing hypothesis that these were indeed retainer sacrifices.
And
right?
she's a scientist, so I don't think she would steer us in any kind of pseudo route. Also.
No, not at
that would
not
not be that wouldn't be that would be intellectually dishonest and not of integrity. And she is a archaeologist and respected. So we can't make it more than what it is.
And her feet was to the fire because she had other archaeologists and everything like that on the panel.
Yeah,
so she had to be fair, right? She had to be fair.
Yeah, absolutely. But she ain't trying to jump out that window, huh?
Which is cool because she probably like, what I mean, she don't want to put forth, she had a theory she may not want to put forth right now because she can't really do it justice in that little bit of time. So I can respect that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Chill with all that, shorty. Fee-fi-fo fum when she was writing at the Sadiq, she was fee-fi-fo fumming. Then when she was with all her peers, she was like, well, I ain't got no purpose. Hey. We enjoy reading the scholars' work, man. And she was like, man, I got some intellectual gunfighters up here. I'm surrounded. Let me not do too much. I ain't got nothing written on it.
Hey, she was like, since you called me out.
I mean, so I didn't call her out. I didn't call Brenda Baker out in public with that. I actually was speaking with her in the private chat, just me and her.
Right.
I understood very well how that could play.
But that was the response to the question when she felt compelled to respond, right? To respond because we did mention her in her work, right? In terms of as an alternative. So she was like, okay, well, here's where I stand. In a
room full of experts, they would have been sharpening their knives. Like, you got to compete with shit. They were ready, like, let's get it. Like, they look for that.
And it was interesting. It was interesting banter back and forth for about 30 minutes.
I'm mad I missed that.
I do want to read what Marcus wrote in the chat since Sadiq is making a point. We're talking about Egypt. We're not talking about Kerma, blah, blah, blah. Sudan, but I mean, so this is what Marcus said. With yes and no while talking, they brought up both since they hold that it was one continuous ideology. Basically, there was very little difference between the beginning of Egypt and Kerma. There you have it. And pretty much.
And that's what I was trying to explain again earlier. Go ahead.
Right. But again, my question, I didn't ask them nothing about no Sudan or Kerma. I asked them pre-dynastic and early dynastic period of Egypt. That's how I posed my specific question when I asked in the chat, was retainer, what was the consensus on retainer sacrifice in pre-dynastic and the early dynasties of Egypt / Kemet? That was my question. And this was the response. So, if again, that just goes to show you, they gave me what they know, and that's what they know, and they feel that there is a cultural continuity between the two, and the evidence is there. And he pointed to us to where the evidence was.
Go ahead, Sosa, because you was on the Smash Rockwell show. Shout out Smash Rockwell's, man, like and subscribe, man. You made a healthy point, and you know, because that's been my damn fight. You already know. But go ahead, Sosa.
Yeah. That's why I used the Kerma first, because I knew he would agree. You know what I'm saying? I had to walk him into that stuff. You got to pose it right. Yeah. So that's why I asked him about Kerma, and he agreed to Kerma, sacrifice of Kerma. You know what I'm saying? So I challenged him on that. Well, you know, when you talk about cultural entanglement and shared ideas, then you walk backwards to its beginning stages, then that would put more evidence on the side of retaining sacrifices in Egypt. You know what I'm saying? Like, but he agreed, but he still, he still,
I like the way Smash said, yo. Smash say, whatever they was doing, they stopped doing it after
the phenomena, whatever that was, that was. I don't know what. I ain't gonna say it was that, but whatever that thing, that phenomena was, they stopped it.
Whatever it was, they was definitely doing it amongst a lot of people. But whatever it was, we don't know what it is. We're gonna let Smash have that. Whatever it was, they stopped doing it. I like that one. That's my favorite one. That's definitely my favorite one. Right? Whatever it was, I'm not quite sure. We don't know. Yeah, we know what it was. Let's play the clip. Y'all can see the screen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we at the movies. Y'all know what it is, man. We PseudoKillas at the movies, man. Here we go. This is the lecture that King Sosa talked about.
At first, this slide is definitely confusing, which I think helps highlight the complexity of the situation. But if we look at clusters of less adorned bodies around those with specialized equipment, a pattern does start to emerge. So here's kind of a cluster of people buried with daggers, but you can see there's sort of like a buffer zone of less decorated individuals. And as we go further and further, these sort of cells appear. And this clustered burial pattern is similar to elite subsidiary burial layouts, suggesting that these key royal sacrifices may have been determined by the king to be taken with him into the afterlife, and they in turn coerced their own set of sacrifices to be buried with them in the corridor as well. So the elite Kermans who were selected for burial with the Kerman king were still afforded the ability to equip themselves for the afterlife, acting within this hierarchical social structure. At first,
okay, so yeah, you got people high up in the court. They also was allowed sacrifices. Ha! Interesting. So let's move on to the sister real quick.
Yeah, the daggers are interesting because those are the symbolic pieces of the higher ups, right? The people that were higher up in the social stratification piece, right? So when they see those Kermite or those Kushite daggers, those are the telltale signs in terms of, you know, the social hierarchy there. So yep, absolutely.
So here's the sister that was on yesterday. Am I correct? Shayla?
Yes.
Here you go. Here's some of her work. She's in front of her peers giving this. Berkeley, University of California. All right.
The tomb is like opened, and then a cattle hide is prepared. So one of the similarities between these Kerman burials and these C group burials is that before anything begins, the entire tomb is kind of lined with the hide of cattle. Then the human is placed first because it's the human's grave. The human is lowered into the grave. Then the whole caprines, the whole sheep, are placed into the grave. After the sheep comes the meat cuts, where you have a goat that is recently skinned and freshly butchered. After the goat comes the pottery. So you saw how the goat was like kind of tucked underneath the pot. Sometimes the goat is in the pot, and sometimes the pottery is kind of stuck on top of it. Then after the goat comes the dog. So if there's a dog in the tomb is like opened, and then a cattle hide is prepared. So one of the similarities between these Kerman burials and these C group burials is that before anything begins, the entire tomb.
All right, let me send the rest of it. Let's see where we at with this. Thanks went a little bit far.
Then the human is placed first because it's the human's grave. The human is lowered into the grave. Then the whole.
I think we kind of went. Oh, okay. Let me still. We sent to that part.
After the goat comes the pottery. So you saw how the goat was like kind of tucked underneath the pot. Sometimes the goat is in the pot, and sometimes the pottery is kind of stuck on top of it.
Hey, yo, that pot is important, though. Anybody that understand traditional African culture, that pot is important.
Pots and pans, right?
And that's all the way on the Nile River. Them pots is important. Well, go ahead, Juju. What you about to say?
The young lady in the first video before you did the Shayla Monroe,
yes.
She was also there on the panel on that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't know if that was her, because it was a couple of them, but one of them was actually like stuck at the airport somewhere in Africa trying to get back to Egypt or somewhere. It was funny. And she was talking, but yeah, they was all there though.
Wow.
It was like actually more of the experts in the after party than in the William Hansberry Symposium itself. The after party is like they all jumped on. I'm telling you, it was almost like 20 of them.
She was there. She was there.
She was there.
She was there. Mario Beatty was there.
Yeah. Do y'all know why they was there though? No, listen. Okay, y'all thinking, yeah, they there for Lil Hansberry. No, this is that generation that's taking that step forward and connecting Egypt to all of Africa, y'all. See,
correct.
That's the cat's out the bag now. That's the new.
That's how you stand on the square and create agency also.
That's the thing now, and I'm letting y'all know that. Prior to these new Egyptologists coming in, right? Prior to Nubianologists, right now it's a field called Nubian. You got Nubianologists. I'll play this sometime during the week, who never even been to damn Nubia. The question is this: how can you actually study Nubia and never went to Nubia? Mm-hmm. In Egypt, it's a very inter-Western entanglement. I have fought for 2.5 years over this because I knew this was here. I knew they was there. I knew where it was going. You know, when they lit Diop's in the daggone museum, right? Mm-hmm. Man, now they looking at it as African context, right? That don't mean you run and start hollering, screaming, and start misusing terms. They was black. No, because that's not what the scientific consensus is.
Correct.
They don't use that terminology. That's wrong. They're not white, then it's not it. The terminology. The proper terminology is indigenous Africans, ranging in all different skin colors, right? From light to dark. That's it. And not the outside groups of light-skinned people. And they make, and at the quote unquote Brooklyn Museum, they get very specific with this, right? Of course, if you study, we get it. Matter of fact, even your man, even Diop's talked about Indo-Europeans being in there in ancient times. That's Diop said that. So we ain't got no business, right? When we look at the archaeological record that Diop's pulled, remember Diop's pulled the work from other anthropologists, right? And it wasn't a fight over whether it was some Indo-European stock. Samantha Kiata puts it perfectly, right? And listening to one of his lectures, he cued me in on finding the literature. Diop's talked about that. So Diop's never said it wasn't that. Diop's stance was that it was the Negro type, right? That was there all the way up into, I think, like the 18th, Donnie got pushed out, right? He was just wrong, right? But I could never find literature, right? And using the non-scientific term Negro, there wasn't any literature published that made the statements that we made. We've heard people make statements that there wasn't any Negroes, right? That's fine. We know that's the non-scientific term, right? But they was trying to say there wasn't any, sub-Saharan African. But I'm letting y'all know now, I have yet to find any literature from the experts that has ever made that claim, that there has been what you want to call sub-Saharan African, the racial term, that's been in there since the beginning before it was even called that. And they give you certain percentages, right? Since we don't use the outdated term, right, which was race oriented and caused, it was literally the foundation of the transcontinental slave trade. It's the foundation of it now, right? Mm-hmm. Certain works on evolution, Charles Darwin actually pushed us away from that. UNESCO, and I mentioned this, UNESCO put out a statement on race. I'm gonna do a whole show on that. 1950, they put out a statement, then they revised their statement in, I believe, 1972 or something like that. They revised it. And then they had it was a scientific consensus conference on the peopling. They didn't say of the race legitimacy, they said on the peopling, right, of the Nile Valley and the deciphering of the Amharic script. And we all know what the conclusion was, that they was homegrown indigenous Africans. The statement that some Europeans had made about they was white people with dark skin, they threw that away right off the top. Now get that out of here. You tripping. Right off the top, they was like, nope, that's nonsense. Right? But Diop's and them, right? They was willing to argue. They was like, okay, you got a case. Let's do it. And they did the damn thing. And at the end, they were like, nope, Diops. No. It wasn't that. It wasn't no mass migration coming in. No. It said that population was primary there. So when they made that statement, watch this, y'all, that population was always there, that's a proper statement. But watch this. This is what most people always forget, right? Although they said that population was always there, Diops made a point. Diops said, well, wait a minute. Homo sapiens was on the Nile 150,000 years. Like, we got the tools. They were like, nope, you can't prove that. We don't know. We're going to wait. We don't got nothing to fight you with. They say we don't have it to fight you with right now. We're going to hold that marker there. I mean, you know, I read the document, right? Diop say, yo, it's been Homo sapiens, right, on the Nile since 150,000 years. They was like, you can't prove it. They say, yeah, we got the tools and you can read the dice. Say, this is it. They say, whatever, we're going to hold that. We're going to hold that right there. They didn't even know Diop was going to go that deep with it, right? Now we can safely say that, yeah, it was Homo sapiens on the Nile 150,000 years. So when everybody always made the little statement that population never left, I say, yeah. So you're right, that population never left, but can we please extend that population never left to 150,000 years and then everybody get their panties in a bunch? No, they never left, right? Of course they didn't. They migrated back and forth, whatever, but primarily speaking, these variations of Africans, right, that most of y'all can't handle. Y'all can't handle the Africans that y'all think look like Middle Eastern, but they not. They might look like Arabs, but they not. We done did all the genetic argument. They not Arabs. They might look like that. They might be culturally Arabs. They might speak Arabic, but they are Egyptians. And depending on where they are on the Nile, whether it's the middle Nile, lower Nile, they range in skin color. And simple as that. And they range in skin color and they range in hair texture. That's it. So all this nonsense, non-scientific conversation we've been having is bananas. And my foundation was this right here that I'm showing you, that, man, the burial practices, the afterlife, the burial goods, the painting, the enormous palette is actually one of those grave goods that, right? It's a palette of paint. Yeah, because they was body painting, ornamentation. All this is in the game and y'all want to throw it away at this point. It's crazy to me, bro. I don't understand it, right? Maybe, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Let me just shut up. Anyway, that's the sister right there. And finish the clip and I'm gonna shut the hell up.
Then after the goat comes the dog. So if there's a dog in the tomb, the dog is
the dog. They never talk about the domesticated dog. The Nubians domesticated the dog, I swear. I could show y'all a funeral procession. Go ahead. I'm gonna let y'all talk. Watch this.
Herding the sheep. So the dog is put behind the sheep, the caprines. And then once the tomb is covered over, that last bit is, if it's a royal tomb or if it's an early C group tomb, then the human is placed.
Anyway, that's the arrangement in that. All right. And you know, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. We don't gotta keep arguing over that. I ain't even getting to the part when you say, yeah, it was the human side. I left that out on purpose. Just want to kind of help y'all through this. I want to help y'all through your moment.
You know what that is, when you got Dr. Ashby and Shayla Monroe and Brenda Shayla Moore, Brenda Moore. You know what that is, right? That's what you call a Pan-African scholarship right there.
And that's the, you know what? That's horrible. Hold on. Man, that's exactly what that is, yo.
That's what it is.
And they actually, some of them said that. Am I tripping?
No, you're not tripping.
Come. What part ain't I getting right? Brendan, help me out, man. So you know I be tripping sometime. Help me out, yo.
Well, what I wanted to say with that is Pan-Africanism is an ideology to help to find solutions to some problems, okay, that Black Africans in the diaspora and some Africans in the continent share. Scientific literacy is also a necessity to help us solve problems. So, you know, I was listening to a show earlier today, and I don't understand how and why in this day and age that we are separating. If we are Black African American and we actually are true Pan-Africans, I think it behooves us to accept scientific literacy, and it does us no justice to try to separate them by still kind of dealing with these kind of white man science ideological concepts, which we give them, you know, those individuals too much credit, which I say. And when we do stand on our square, like, you know, with Shayla Monroe and Dr. Ashby and these people who have started to infiltrate a field where we didn't have a presence, and we put our work forth, then we get pushback, just like with Dr. Kinsey Kismikia Corbett. You know, like she was heavily involved in this vaccine for COVID here in the United States, which has had probably the most successful vaccine development, you know, compared to them all. And yes, and yet we still get this pushback. So it's hard for me to understand, if you call yourself a Pan-African, why we keep pushing back on those who look like us, who are standing on those squares to, you know, find solutions to, you know, these human problems.
I see ain't nobody hit that link. Scared to death.
And you know what? You know, I would also add, and this is just me just observing a lot of the conversations and the arguments in the community. And a lot of times what we have the tendency to do, we say, since we don't know everything about a particular phenomenon or a subject, then you say, okay, we don't know anything about it. Mm-hmm. That's the problem, is that there are things that we don't know about said subject, and let's talk about that. The things that we don't know, and we talked about this on the panel, and it discusses this in the article that we just reviewed, right? Two of the things that are the gaps in the archaeological evidence, right, is the cause of death, right? Mm-hmm. Again, they're very clear in terms of, okay, well, we don't know the absolute cause of death for these people within these grave sites. Yes. And the second thing is that we don't know if the death was compulsory, right? If it was forced or if it was voluntary, right? So these are two. This is the gaps. This is the gaps in terms of our understanding. And this is where they say, okay, well, we need to do additional research. We need to do additional studies to figure out these particular questions. But because as always, we talk about this science, and it's never ending, right? We're constantly pushing the envelope. We're constantly, you know, revealing new evidence, revealing, you know, doing new analysis based on what we don't know, right? So those, again, I don't shy away from the whole idea about the gaps in terms of what we see, right? So I think that's an important piece, right? Just because we don't know everything, that doesn't mean that we don't know some things, right? And also that does not mean that we can't say, okay, with a pretty high degree of certitude, this is what it was, right? And we talk about the idea within science, there's the concept of the warrant, right? The concept of the warrant says that within science, if we have enough evidence that leads us to believe something is true, right, we go with that, right? But we also leave open, right, the possibility to evaluate new evidence as it comes in, mm-hmm. right? And I think that's where we're at in terms of this entire conversation, right? We're under the scientific warrant at this point, right? We don't know everything, but we do know some things, and then we can say, we can make those determinations that way.
Yeah, they're saying he dropped. They're saying the link ain't in the chat.
I thought you put it in there. Did you put it in there?
I put the link to the Harvard, to the
oh, okay.
museum.
Shit, I thought that was the daggone. All right, here y'all go.
Yeah, and Brandon, a lot of the the absence of evidence is the evidence of absence.
It'd be hard to get past some scientific.
Hey, leave it up to Sosa to just, he did it in one sentence. What took me a whole 5 minutes.
That he did.
That's a pro, right?
That he did.
Man, can't get past that. I don't know, man. I swear, man, it's wild how we was like, yeah. I popped up in the server, y'all watching this thing. I'm like, oh man, I'm watching it all day long with everybody. We talking about having fun, we laughing, we joking, we say, yeah, they did a good job there. We like, nah. Then they be joking, you ain't gonna listen to the experts, right? We like, yeah, we listen to the experts, right? And we just saying how they, how they flow back and forth on a personal thing, they thing. And I could have sworn they said something about the Pan-African thing, because I could have sworn. Did they? Then they kind of say something about that, about the need.
I mean, I'm saying that, but
Farazi, he was there. They were saying, how they had the whole piece. Y'all wouldn't even want to go against them. If you was Pan-African, you wouldn't want to go against, because they were saying, yeah, we're reinvestigating the information, we putting it in the African through the eyes of the African. Didn't they say all that? Remember?
Correct. Well, with the coloniality piece, that was kind of, which she meant.
Yeah, they was like, it's time to look at the information through the eyes of the African. So when the Africans speak up now, all of a sudden they don't know what they're talking about.
Crazy.
I would also say, brother Mario Beatty, he never fails to impress either, right? In terms of his presentation when he came on and he was doing the analysis of the art of Akhenaten and Nefertiti, and looking at the torso. It was so like the torso representation of the ornamental pieces in ancient Egypt was like a representation of one of the glyphs where he talked about the I don't know if it's the Aten, or again, he's basically framing an argument based on saying, okay, well, this pictorial representations on the wall, right, were reflections of what we see in the hieroglyphs as well. So that was a really interesting piece that because he put some net new information, or he actually was bold enough to put some hypotheses forward on the symposium. So that, again, right, when he jumped on, I said, oh man, here's Mario Beatty. I said, I wonder what he's gonna say, right? And
I know for a fact, that Salim Faraj is considered a Pan-African. I used to follow him on Facebook. We were Facebook friends. So, I know his stance. And Mario Beatty, you know what I'm saying? Wasn't he part of ASCAT? And
yeah, he is.
I believe he's part of ASCAT and things of that nature. So
yeah, he was the
yeah. So I do know that for a fact. But yeah, that was fun yesterday.
That was me. It's wild how all of them was there. That's the most wild. That's wild.
And in terms of Faraji, he said some things I don't necessarily agree with. Well, all scholars are going to say some things you don't necessarily agree with. But in terms of specifics with Faraji, he says he makes the statement in terms of what we call, I guess, the genetic relatedness between the West Africans and the East Africans, or in the ancient Egyptians, right? And he makes the statement, yes, we are those people, right? But again, right, that's like that slippery slope. That's the playground. We always say that's the playground of the Blackologist. When you say, okay, well, yes, we are those people. You have to be careful with that. And again, him as a scholar, I understand what he's doing. He's trying to he's trying to make those connections between West Africa and East Africa. But again, right, I think a lot of us, we tend to jump out the window with that, right? That's not his fault, right, in that regard. But again, that would be some of the criticisms that
my issue with him is when he tried to stretch that all the way to the Americas.
Yes.
That'll show. That was when I was like,
saying we. Yeah, when he says we. Yes.
I was like,
Right.
evolution are gonna beat you up before you can make it past Mesopotamia with evolution.
Yeah, you go back far enough.
Shit, you get past the Near East, Middle East. Shit, man.
Oh yeah.
That's my only issue with him. But other than that,
yeah, I think he
very
added
solid.
some really great commentary yesterday. The brother was on his A game yesterday. And I was, it was interesting when he mentioned the burials in Balana, because I was doing some research the same day, that morning, and I was reading Bruce Trigger's work on the Balana burials, right? So that's the first thing that sort of piqued my interest in terms of the conversation. And that's why I was like, okay, when they opened up the panel, they said that, hey, did any of you guys have any questions regarding what we've presented? I was like, okay, they opened the window, Juju, let's kick down the door, right? They opened it up, so we kicked down the door. It was
that motherfucker 100 miles an hour. That shit funny.
Man.
I mean, I tried to pick the lock with my question text in the beginning, and I was like trying to converse, saying, well, because you had told me that you had asked a question earlier, and you thought maybe you might have made some of them feel uncomfortable, or so to speak, because I got in there a little later. And when I asked the question, I was just like,
there was an earlier question in terms of the was there any affinities between some of the pottery? I think this is when what's the lady's name? Isha, what's her name? Anisha
Malvolin or something. Brother Reggie interviewed her
this is during her presentation, because she was discussing the pottery, right? And I think Brother Marcus from the Discord, because we were watching the presentation from the Discord, he was like, hey, ask her, do we see any similarities between the Nilotic pottery that we see in the Chadic region, and I think it was like the Nubian region, all this, and she was like, yes, in terms short answer, it was like, yes, we do see those commonalities in the continuity there. But again, right, us when we asked that question, it was sort of in the backdrop. Okay, they were trying to bring in the region. They were trying to break down these regional distinctions, right? In their conversation. And the question that I asked, or that Marcus asked, was putting back up those walls of area distinctions. And they was like, okay, well, we have to get away from these, okay, Chadic region or the Nilotic region of this. It's like, no, think of it as like a continuous cultural region. And this is similar to what Wingrove does, right? He talks about the Middle Nile cultural region, right? He makes no real distinction between Nubia and Egypt in some of his archaeological analysis, right? So yeah.
Yeah, and I had a PDF too that dealing with the pull it out to see if you've seen it, if you looked at it. It's giving some of the breakdown of the retainer sacrifices in the age of Egypt. The peoples, some of the burials, how many were buried. I just drop in the back chat, and I'm gonna drop it in a chat for the
All right. So remember when the sister put the watch this. I ain't even go. I'm not gonna mess with him tonight. Nope. I'm gonna put something together real special with y'all. What I will do is something I've been aware of this for at least 10 years. Yeah, this is my 10-year thing right here. I'm gonna go back in the archives for y'all. All right. And I'm really appreciating the Black scholars these days, man. They talked about domesticated dogs. Y'all can see this, right? All right, let's make it bigger for y'all. All right, y'all see this, correct?
Yep.
The lost late pre-dynastic, early dynastic royal scene. That's fun, huh? All right, let's see here. What we doing? Make this a little bigger for y'all. Is it good on the screen? Is this good? Is that too big? What is it looking like? I won't get this.
It looks good.
It
looks
kind of good or real good. Kind of good or real good. Too small. Let's see. Hold on, let me see.
I mean, I'm able to read it because you made it big enough, and then I can blow it up, and that's on the phone. So
I want to make sure everybody here
that's
sees.
real good, I would say.
All right, because I want this to be this what I like. Got some more space on that damn screen. Let me see. I make that a little more bigger. Yeah, I need y'all to see this here. Right? Okay, boom. That should be good. That should be this. Let's see. Let's see what it look like. We should be right there. We should be all the way in the game. All right. All the naysayers, everybody talking. What am I doing here? Okay. Mm-hmm. You know, we talk about royal processions and let's see, man, where the hell is the oh man, this ain't the whole thing. Where's the whole thing at?
While you finding it, Unc, I want to say to Sosa, we dealt with that source already. That was one of the first ones, actually.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I've been missing, so I just put it in case.
But I'm just letting you know that Dr. Jacobus Van Dijk, we talked about him earlier too, and yeah, they still not satisfied.
Who ain't satisfied? They ain't satisfied.
I mean, the ones who say that, you know, retainer sacrifice didn't happen in Egypt.
Nah, I wanna
Yeah, that PDF is pretty thorough. I mean,
yeah, that file is filling out right now.
It's pretty thorough.
We got that file. So
all the sources in it, all the sources you can like it's sourced up too. You can just
that Van Dijk source. Is that what you're talking about, Sosa?
Yeah.
It's
he has sources. Yeah, it's sources within them sources. Like he's showing where to go to get everything. He's
extremely thorough.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, we deal with the whole idea that okay, well they don't know everything. It's like, well, they said they didn't know this. There you go. It's like okay, well, he doesn't know what he's talking about, right? It's like
yo, wilding out. Okay, let me get here now. Now I got to figure out how to get the hell off the.
Let me put that back in my file. Let me put this one in my file too. Appreciate that, Sosa.
Yeah, I already got this one in the PDF.
Okay, here we go. Here we go, y'all. Man, this is funny. All right, y'all see this, right?
There you go.
All right, here we go.
Technology working.
Oh man, come on, man. All I want to do, okay. Y'all see this, right? Up. That's not let me get. I want to make this big. I want y'all to see this royal scene. Y'all can halfway see the royal scene. Hold on. Want to see the royal scene, right? Since we acting like there's not a cultural continuity. This seems to be the new theme here. That's not really the cultural continuity, right? We're starting to get a whole lot of that's not this. Okay, let me see if I can just plant this right here. I want y'all to get a good look at this right here on the screen. Let me see. I think I can, okay, all right. All right, this is what we're gonna do. And I'm gonna show you the cultural continuity. Which one do I wanna use? This gonna work? All right, I think this is the one. Y'all can see this, right?
Yep, you see it.
Do y'all see this delete? What does it say? All right. Early dynastic scene, right? Now, do y'all see the royal procession? Do y'all see that? You see the symbols and all that? We can pull up the Numbers palette, right? Y'all see this? Yeah. Métis, all that. You see the pharaoh, see the crown, right? See the stick. Look, you see this? See, y'all see the rock art, right?
Yeah.
Y'all see the procession there, right?
Yes.
Some poles and all that. Okay. Now, you would think this is an Egyptian scene, right? There's one problem, it's not. Guess what? See that dog right there? That identifies that as Nubian. Remember that dog that I talked about 20 minutes ago? D-O-G. Right. I say Doug, we say Doug, I'm from Baltimore. It's a dog. All right? You see that? That domesticated, that's what make that scene Nubian. That's not Egyptian there. The only difference is the dog. Look at it. That's on rock art. Am I tripping? You see the crown? That's the early representation of that. Wow. You know, don't make me pull up the Nama palette around here. So all of a sudden, Nubians and Egyptians They practicing the same types of royal procession with, you know what I'm saying? You can see the difference. It's this damn dog right there, bro. That's right there. It's not the jackal. No, that's one of them domesticated Nubian dogs they talked about. And you would only know this if you studied enough to know that that's the damn domesticated dog they got that nobody ever talks about. How we know they domesticated? First, they buried their dog with them, and all the dogs look the same. You know, like Doman pigeons, like rock wallers. You know what I'm saying? They're domesticated. No, that's it. So do I got to pull up the Norman's palette? They not Nubians. The Norman palette ain't dealing with no Nubians, right? Norman there, right? You pull up the Norman palette, right? You pull up the Norman's palette. Look. Norman palette. Pull up the Norman's palette. This ain't, we don't got to argue, fight. We don't got to do nothing. Look, we're going to pull up the Norman's palette. I'm going to put up a colorful one here. Let's see if we can put up the color. Let me see. Let's see here. See if we can visit here. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's share the screen real quick. Y'all see it, right? Is that the Norman's palette? Is that the Norman's palette? Okay, do y'all not see this? Y'all see that? See? You see the stanzas, see them? You see all that, right? Look what they carrying in their hand. Look at how they carrying it. It's a royal procession, yo.
Same thing.
This is the code. This is what they doing.
Yeah,
look at that. Look at the heads between their legs. They chopped off somebody's damn head.
shared idea. No, that's gonna fall under that shared ideas.
Mm-hmm.
See? What, we don't gotta act like this not what happening. You see the bull right there? You know the bull, man, the bull, and they actually tell you right here, the boat proceeding, let me see, by the shallow and open door, right? Let's see. The priest, look, watch this. You got the priest wearing a leopard skin. Oh, who wore the leopard skins, though? Who was wearing the leopard skins? Was not the Nubians wearing the leopard skins? Y'all forgetting? Leopard skins, Nubian, the priest, though. Why is the priest wearing the leopard skins? You can look on any, I can pull it up, and the Nubians be wearing the leopard skins, yo. So you see a little touch of the Nubian in the priesthood. What's going on in front of our face? And no, that don't make an Egyptian a Nubian. It don't make a Nubian damn Egyptian.
Because I was going to push back a little bit because like you can't necessarily, if the ideas are shared at a point, you can't say it's distinctly Nubian if it's at a point where the ideas are shared. You feel me? It's like if we live in, you know, like back in the day, in every household, you go to African American household, they got that big wooden spoon and fork on the wall. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Right. So if me and you come out of that and we go our separate ways, and then you see the wooden spoon and fork in my house and the wooden spoon and fork in your house, you can't determine that I got it from you or you got it from me. It doesn't belong to me. It doesn't belong to you. It's a shared concept that we got on our departure from each other. You feel me?
Yeah, I'm actually not fighting that, and it wouldn't even make a difference with it. Because we did the same.
I just want to make sure you're on the same page because I agree
really got to fight that. Like I ain't.
All right, boom, we there. Well, we ain't even got to act. What's understood don't got to be said.
Right, we don't got to fight that. But what we can say is that them damn Nubians is the leopard skin dudes. that we do know. We can go Egyptian.
No doubt. Yeah, they do right leopard skin.
And see this right here. They always talk about these animals with the necks. Why is they necks? They say it's Mesopotamian. It's actually not Mesopotamian. It's actually what it is. It's a palette, and they mix makeup in here. All right, simple as that. So interesting right there. It's like you about to take somebody's head off too, ain't it? Yeah. All right. So You know, that's all I basically got to say about that, man. I could have sworn I put that link in there. People gonna act like I ain't put the link in there, yo. Is that what they trying to act like?
They say they studying and stuff.
Wow, they jump on there.
I tell you,
I think Smash gonna back up off that argument. I think he realized it.
He just had, I mean,
the gun battles.
He was having some fun. He was trying to have.
And we've been in heavy gun battles over the last 24 hours. So, you know, a lot of us, you know, maybe, you know, patching wounds up and, you know, doing all. So yeah.
Yeah, because he was getting caught up in, you know, willingness or unwillingness, which doesn't matter. If it were willing or unwilling,
I don't care.
We talked about sacrifice.
Right. So last night we were on. I don't know if you were you had a chance to watch the show last night on Smash's channel, but I think Sheffrin was on, and he made an example. Excuse me. In terms of the willingness sacrifice of Jesus, right? was because the argument was, okay, well,
that was so bad.
If it was willing, right?
That was so bad.
If the people were willing, was it a sacrifice or was it a homicide? Right? and Chef's argument was, he's like, okay, well, here's the example of Jesus in first century Judea as being the willing sacrifice, right?
Yeah,
it's like, okay, well, does that mean that he wasn't a sacrifice because he was a willing sacrifice? And you know what happened is, like, they ran off the cliff with the whole Jesus thing. It's like they start talking about Josephus, and I was like, dude, stop.
It's like touchdown,
bring it, dude. I was like, bring it, hey, Chef. That's why I hate. I always say it. That's why I hate analogies, Sosa, because it always gives them that trap door, that back door out of the argument, right? Because they start debating the analogy as opposed to debating the original point. You know what I'm saying? So they started to try to gaslight. Dude, we're not talking about first century Judea. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back to the first dynasty. We're in 3100 BCE right now. Let's bring it back, right? It's
oh man,
come join us, Smash. He in the chat.
Yeah, that was fun. But again, that was a really great exchange. It was a great exchange, though. Yeah, again, like I say, all of us are sort of licking our wounds from last night. It was a lot of good exchanges, you know, good points made.
He been putting hands on y'all.
Oh yeah. Hey, Smash,
we on your helmet, bro. We on your helmet, bro.
Hey, Smash act like he didn't get shot a couple times too. Come on.
I want Pan-African design to hit the link though.
Yeah,
I need James to hit that link.
Oh,
it's like, when you look at the symptoms of retaining sacrifice, like, they sure got a lot of symptoms over there. Coughing, runny nose.
I don't know. We won't say exactly, right?
Boy, got a lot of symptoms. I ain't saying it's the flu, but boy, like that.
Exactly. But here's your prescription, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh man, let's have some fun. You're gonna have some fun, though. Watch this start another 30 videos. I'm not gonna do it, but I ain't gonna do it. All right, right here, look at this. This is fun right here. Look here. Open this up. Oh man, where'd it go? What? Oh, here you go. Look. This is ethnic identity in the lands of the Pharaoh. Elements of ancient Egypt. Look at this picture right here.
You can do this all Saturday night.
Get them mad. Look, get everybody mad. Look, plantation scene. The tomb of, was it Jehuti Hotep? Am I saying that right? All right.
You almost said that was Infodisha Jehuti must.
Jehuti. That ain't even, it's Jehuti Hotep, whatever the hell. I done said that. Oh, let me see.
Brother Reggie's back. I don't know if he had a chance to listen to the commentary.
Actually, I unfortunately had to take a call, so I did not mention. I did not.
I'm jumping here yet. I got the screen share. Relax. I wanted to show them plantation scene. Look how black this dude is.
Ain't this something I get cut off? I'm getting off. I'll talk to y'all later, man. I had a long night, man. So
what happened? Somebody got on your head, sound like, bro.
yeah, we going through I'm going through different things, personal health and stuff like that. And so but I would have liked to join and listen to what Smash has to say. If I stay on and listen to listen to what Smash got to say.
Yeah, I don't know what Smash want to say. Look, here, this what I want to say though, Reggie. Look, it say one might find it incredible, but even the British Museum Dictionary of Ancient Egypt has an entry on race in which the authors state that apparently simple question of racial origins or characteristics or racial type of the Egyptians and is both difficult to answer. We know we all 2.5 years, and in some measure irrelevant. Yeah, there's the source right there, right? It's a irrelevant or not. Y'all say, damn, what that irrelevant? We want to fight that. They say the authors, right, use the category of race as valid and further argue that examination of human remains from the pre-dynastic period shows a mixture of racial types, including Negroids. Remember what I said earlier?
I'm throwing that out. Negroid.
Yeah, we got to throw it out. Yeah, we're going to throw it, but listen, but watch this.
I got you.
Making early, right? Including Negroids, Mediterranean, right? And European. It's saying, and by the time that a pharaonic civilization had fully emerged, it was no longer, it was no longer meaningful to look for a particular Egyptian racial type, since they were clearly already, to some extent, at least a mixed population.
Yeah, 1995. So we can throw that out. So one of the things.
Relax. We're not getting it.
Don't cut me off. Don't cut me off. Don't cut me off. I didn't contribute.
I just wanted to read something. This is a good book. You know this our book, Reggie. Look, it's a good book. Go ahead, Reggie. I ain't mean to shake the tree and get you started on that.
Yeah, I'm already upset. So I gotta balance this. One of the people that I did when I did my Brooklyn Museum, how can I say I filmed that, is I know of the European scholars, or if you want to do race or something like that, that they are working to fix the narrative, and they're the ones who are actually suffering, because they're the ones who is actually publishing it and correcting and going into these museums and putting in things like the African origin of civilization and the Green Sahara. And so I talked to one of them about the pushback, and you saw some of the conversation about the pushback, but because they are going back and looking at what their peers had said, because they're all in the institutions, they're the European PhDs, and they're getting the pushbacks. And so I wanted to let both groups know, the Hansberry Society and the Nile Valley Collective, which is much more mixed, that we're here. And they suck in getting views. So these conversations go on all the time. Guess what? And they don't have no viewership. This is the work that we do, and we need the content. So maybe I may have to not hire, but coordinate with Brendan, so that Brendan can reach out to some of these people and start this dialogue as to how can we help, because we have the audience. And they don't. And so I saved the 312 views that they got, right? Many of the people came from the channel that I sent them from House of Consciousness to that for their dialogue because they didn't have any relevant questions. The stuff that y'all asked, I didn't see it, but those are the things that they've been dying to go over with, but it doesn't seem to be any support.
Hey, Reg, you see the screen real quick?
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, we certainly have a lot of questions from them. If they will entertain those, absolutely.
Oh, they will, but we have to make amends with.
Let me clear the screen first. We talked about that leopard skin, right? Now, who got on the leopard skin on this picture? You know what this is, right, Reggie?
These are all new. These are majority Nubians with Tutankhamun's over vizier, or Nubian. How can I say? He's his Nubian vizier. I may not be using his title right, but he's the person who's in charge of Nubia. Hoy, I think. Hoy and someone else.
Look how they dress, though. Look how they dress. You see some look like some Egyptian wear. You think it's Egyptian, right? That fine linen, actually, the Nubians actually made the best linen. Just for the record, for anybody want to jump out the window. I'm going to say it again. The Nubians made the best linen. They made the fly shoes, all that. They definitely got like different tribe. They got that leopard skin right there.
The best gold.
Yeah, we talking about Nama's palette, yo, with the, on Nama's palette, you got the priest with the leopard skin. I just found out, you know what I'm saying? Mix, different outfits, different mix is a hell of a, I'm saying those
coming from Nubia. Egypt absorbed all of that. The best goldware comes from Nubia, right? So the Nubians were the manufacturers and the miners. The Egyptians just consumed it in these in something like these tribute type of situations. Look, you got the Nubian on a horse, right? And look at the color complexions, and then look at the color complexions of the so-called Egyptians, right?
Chariots.
Yeah, chariots. Yeah.
That chariot right there. That's a Nubian joint, though. Look, they chilling. It's wild, yo. I mean, the culture is
the exchange of those raw materials, right? The raw materials from Nubia and inner Africa, right? Yes. In exchange for finished goods, right? The Nubians had an affinity for those finished goods, the crafts from Egypt, right?
Yeah.
And the broader region. So yeah, that's how they traded. Yep.
Yeah. And so we you know what we're on the cusp of? We're in the cusp of doing something that no other generation is doing. We are pushing Egypt to the margins. Listen to what I'm saying.
They're gonna fly sandals on them Nubians, yo. Y'all think all Nubians look dressed the same, yo. Y'all think this what they was thinking. This how they played, y'all. They played all the Nubians with the leopard skin right here. Look, see the top register? That's how they made all the Nubians look like that. That was the game, right? Remember the game they played for many moons, yo? Yeah. Look all the way here. Look all the way across. Look, fly. Look. Smash and come on here and read this if we want. Look, fly the feather. Look, fly it out. Look at the hairstyle. Look, look at that. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. Earrings. Some got the earrings. They just flyed it out. They was definitely.
Do you understand what I just said?
Look at that. Hold on. I'm enjoying this. Look, now look how they looking. Fly haircut. Look, the Nubian wigs. We can identify Nubian wigs. Look at that. Well, how y'all want to do that? Look at the fly linen. Yeah. Yeah, man, they played Nubia half to death, yo. They played the show. Anyway, I'm done. I just wanted to show y'all something. I knew I could show this on the screen and y'all could really, maybe smash or do a show and start reading some of this. I know you can read some of this, Reggie, but that's deep right here. So don't make all the damn Nubians look like the top one right there to the left. All Nubians don't look like that. I just wanted to make the point. Some kind of way we got confused and thinking that all Nubians dress like that. That's not the truth. Somebody lied to you and faked you out. And I'm going to stand on it. The best linen came from Nubia. Now, I stand on that.
We're at the cusp of doing something that no other generation is doing. We're going to put Egypt in the margins. That's a later civilization of Africa. It's an important civilization of Africa. But what was more important is the southern component. And we have so much more evidence to show that the that we need to start studying the parents. Then we can kill all this Egyptomania and Kemet mania and all of this and all of these people, because that is where we have the biggest problems with the mixed populations. But once you can establish who the parents were, and you can establish what we call the Genesis cultures, with the burials, the rituals, the God. One of the things I'm going to tell you here, and I'll tell it to you otherwise. And it's funny, I showed, well, let me just be concise. Monotheism started in Africa. Egypt messed it up. Monotheism, the concept of just one creator God, actually started in the Sudan, and Egypt messed it up. So, but they don't want to talk about the Sudan because then they have to deal with monotheism, and they want to keep that monotheism in Egypt very close to the Levant.
Why is that important though, yo?
Huh?
Why we make monotheism important?
Why?
Yeah, why is that important? Like that mean you get it right when you reduce it to one, huh?
Yeah. Okay. So since you want to step in,
30 of them.
well, you want to step in the dojo with me, okay?
Yeah, I just want to know why is the one
right? Because monotheism to the world is high culture and civilization. That is part of the high culture and civilization, the one God concept.
What?
So,
huh? In ancient times?
No, you didn't listen to what I'm saying. You don't want to listen. Monotheism is part of what they deem as high culture and civilization. They need Egypt to talk about the multiple gods so that they can come in and say that our system was better. But when you go into the earlier civilizations, you find out that there was this one creator God concept. And so it was the African that created the concept of the one God. The Egyptians did writing. And because they were doing writing, they could explain more things. So you have to understand where the battle lines are and what these new Egyptologists and Nubiologists is doing. I want y'all to be able to talk to them. Y'all talk to them in chats, but there's ways in which we can talk to them more further and get more information. I just happen to be able to reach out with them and try to make friends, but I'm trying to bestow that on y'all because you're a different generation. And so all of the stuff that we if you look at all of our books and stuff like that, our old scholars don't know this.
No,
They don't know.
Absolutely. If you can facilitate the conversation, Reggie, absolutely. We can put together, some talking points for dialogue, right, between us. So yeah, I certainly, appreciate you extending that. Yeah, absolutely.
You see me there. You see me talking to them. I was trying to get Garfield and Ankh to go. Ankh is a little further away. Garfield was busy, but we could have. Once we get the experts talking, then all of these pseudos, right? The ones that swing the Ankhs and all of they're not relevant anymore.
Right.
They're not respected. They're not respected. So we are, one of the things that we have to do more is we actually have to write more, right? But our YouTube army is what they need because they don't have you understand, they're looking at the audience in academia. They're not looking, what they want is global education. So they need an army to facilitate global education.
Yeah,
and we have that.
We know how to be cultural. Let's get back to that one God thing. So I don't know why they are assessing that the one God is connected with high culture when Greece and Rome didn't have one God. And they look at that as being their classical high culture. So I'm feeling a little confusion there, Mr. Reg. Just, you know what I'm saying? Like that one God thing fell short in Egypt. You said they messed it up.
No, so
God put their priesthood at a standstill, yo, and it ushered, you know what I mean? It put the control all in the hands of Akhenaten, yo. He put the treasury, you know, the Go ahead,
peace to brother Amir just joined the panel.
No, you see, peace, brother Amir. So here's the thing. They use Greek and Roman as what they call classical, right? But they move into something called modern civilization.
Okay.
Classical civilization is a stepping stone where they can say that, look, it was white, right? It was white. Democracy, it wasn't no democracy in Greek and Rome when you study it. It was kind of like oligarchy. So they need to keep that to facilitate white supremacy in academia, right? To control our minds. It's about controlling the minds of the oppressed. So you guys see it for where you are absolutely correct, but that's their entree to modern civilization. Yahweh in the Abrahamic phase, right? That is where white supremacy actually stands on that. But when you take it away, and like the Met is taking it away, Met laughed at them, put it all in one case. I show you that all the time. That's where it all crumbles. So now when modern civilization stepping stone is absolutely wrong, and we can say that it wasn't classical. Egyptian civilization was much more classical than the Greek, and then the Nubians were the Nubians and the Tamu and all the different Nubian groups, because one of the scholars on the platform says, Dr. Yosef Ben Levi said, what they do is make us prisoners. They put us in A group, B group, C group, and they don't want to say who are actually the members of the A group, B, C group. And Smash and myself by looking at the primaries, but I'm gonna give it to Smash. He's helped us let us know what these groups were. Now we can go further to a certain extent because there's no writing. So I've said enough. I appreciate you giving me some time to speak, but the reason why I can speak is because Brother Reggie is connected, not only to our elder scholars who was doing the best that they can, right? I mean, Dr. Ben absolutely talked about the Nubians, the Shylocks, right? And we're going to learn about the Shylocks. And I bet you that's going to be our new study, the Shylocks, right? And so we are becoming more nubiologists, and that's the field, believe it or not, the Egyptology field is full. More people getting jobs and doing digs in Nubia, like Dr. Shayla Moreau is talking about. Nubia is the new field.
Yeah, they realized they messed it all up. What's up? They messed that all up. Hey, what's going on, Amir? What's up? Go.
Yeah, peace, bro. Yeah, happy belated birthday, bro. I know your birthday was yesterday, right?
Yeah, man. Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, peace and love to the panel. Yeah, I'm glad you guys are and peace to you, brother Reggie. I'm glad you guys are going in. I was just listening in. I just jumped on. I was looking at the depiction of the Nubians that you showed and how you said they look different. They didn't have one look. The Nubians did not have one look. The Nubian, there were multiple ethnic groups in Sudan. So that term Nubia can also be like very vague when people say, oh, that's a Nubian. When you have multiple ethnic groups in Sudan or in that portion of Sudan, they wasn't the same.
That's a fact, yo. They just clumped us all together like Reggie said, they put us in prison. They called it A group, C group, pan group.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing with African Americans. You know, Black Americans are a combination between Yoruba, Igbo, Mandinka, Fulani, Fanti, Bemelike, and different groups. And because they all share the same skin color, based off this, you know, social constructs of what's labeled as Black, coming from, you know, supra-Saharan Africa or sub-Saharan Africa, but I like to say the latter. The earlier supra-Saharan. based off you coming from those regions and you share a specific skin tone, they just say you black. That's it. You're just black. And that's what they did with Nubia, because those people share a specific skin tone and they're obviously distinct from the Egyptians. They all black. And disregard some of these people or some borders of Sudan was territory or part of Egypt, especially when they expanded in Jabal Bakr.
Facts. Hey. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. They've been talking that talk. They ain't hit that link. Hey, Brendan, you got a closing statement to make?
No, I don't. Not really. I think this was a sort of a good conversation over the last couple weeks. Right? I'm really interested in terms of what Brother Reggie. I appreciate him sort of extending the invite to have some broader conversations with some experts and the people in the field. Right. We certainly will be following up with that, right? And maybe we can do sort of like some private conversations between us to figure out how we want to structure and frame those engagements, right? But yeah, I think this was a great show. We were able to actually provide some sources. We were providing dialogue between us and some experts. But this is the level I think that we've been striving towards, right? We talk about that, right? And I think we're right there. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it'd be cool to get some of them on the to do a show and give them that show. That way it won't be we said it. If you got an issue, your issues with
right, not hearsay, right?
Yeah, your issues with them. Check it out
right. And plus we're doing our best to clean up the panel. We cleaning up the everything to make sure everything's professional. Right? We're having scholarly conversations. We're doing our best in that regard. Right? That's all we can do. That's all we can.
When last time you heard me cuss somebody out?
Does last night count? But it was your birthday.
That is funny.
I ain't cussed nobody out last night.
No, I was just kidding.
I was just gonna guess and say yesterday. I was like, I'm gonna say yesterday. I probably
I'm just kidding. But you've been on your best behavior for a while.
We want to grow. We want to grow the white way, man. We got the best game in town. I always felt like that. Got a lot of resources, got a lot of friends in high places, man. Got some good people, man. And I want those talents to show through, man. We need that. Like, man, I really appreciated the way y'all jumped on that panel. Like, we read the experts. So we ain't nothing but a throw stone away from having a conversation with an expert. We know the literature. And scientific literacy helps you. And to be able to understand scientific terms when they're using terms. And archaeology is my favorite subject to talk about. And the fact that y'all got them there, it was crazy how I played them videos last week, right? Remember that?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Damn, they all on there. So at this, we heard what everybody had to say, right? And I just enjoyed the conversation, man. I enjoyed Sadiq's take on it. Logic's take on it, and I really enjoyed Smash shows. People piled up in the building to hear Smash Rockwell's. That's a win for everybody, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it just is, man. And the way we did it with grace and elegance, we shot them half to death, though.
I wish I'd have recorded that, Joe. Like, I'd love to hear the.
Why didn't you do that?
Yeah. Can you get a playback of it? Is it somewhere you can be?
No, it was on a Zoom session. So the only person that could have recorded it was the host of the Zoom session, right? And for somebody to record outside of the host, right? It's sort of like a privacy violation, right? So you have to be careful.
They need to make they slipping with that in terms of getting it out in this day and age. Like, they got to record that and make it a way viewable to the public, like. I mean,
I would have loved to have a recording of it, but
I don't think they knew how to do that.
Unfortunately, we didn't capture that.
They ain't know how to do that. That was crazy. They was jumping on there. They just wilding.
Yeah, when you get that many people with expertise in the field, like, that's
come on. Yeah. They got them flying in from this place, that place. We over there. I'm on the archaeological day. They asked one lady, how many books you read? She said, I don't read no books.
Now, I will say this: you can go to YouTube and see the presentations of the William Leo Hansberry research synopsis, right? You can see the main presentations, but yeah, the banter and the commentary outside of that.
That's what I enjoy.
That's not that piece wasn't captured.
Yeah, like some of my favorite part of the lecture is the Q&A.
Yeah,
that's what I be waiting on. Like, I want to hear the Q&A because I want to hear some of the challenges and how they respond to it. So that's my favorite part.
That was the best part, though. So I ain't gonna lie, because even some of the presentations in the initial William Hansberry Symposium, like some of them, like, but then when you got to the after part and we got to engage and ask the questions, I felt like that was like much better.
Right.
But
because it was controlled.
When that lady said she ain't read no book, she also said she don't read, but she be in the field.
Yeah, I never got to remember somebody dove in. I couldn't finish it.
Oh yeah. But that's what she said. It wasn't that she don't read. Nah, she writing the books. She don't read what she writes. She in the field doing the work.
She ain't got time.
That's what's up.
That's what they say. At some point, you have to put the books down and pick the pen up.
Yeah,
right?
you got to
in your research. Right? Absolutely.
They're going spattle up, digging in that dirt.
That too.
Talking about one nobody. She looked right in the ground, like, yeah, they died. They sat.
Yeah, that's a very, very meticulous work, bro. Like very meticulous. Man. You see the archaeological digs, man.
Archaeology,
yeah, man, and how they be combing through all these thousands of pieces. Man, it's very, very meticulous.
But Sosa, when you actually put me on to the archaeology piece, right? Because when you read their interpretation of the cultural material, right? Yeah. It's like it transports you back.
Yeah.
To that time. That's why I really enjoy actually reading archaeological sort of works, and the explanations of it, right? The analysis pieces, right? Oh, in terms of, okay, well, here's what we found, here's what we think it is, right? Because it transports you back, right? And I enjoy it.
Yeah, man, that sound like a very, very dope conference. Yeah.
So
it was just dope to have that access, Sosa. Like, we've talked about different subjects on the show, whatnot, and literally, anybody we want to ask a question to concerning, this subject matter, anything that has to do with, ancient Kemet, Egypt, Nubia, whatever was there. Like, it was pretty awesome. I was like, damn, everybody's here. Everybody, at least like 20 people. It was almost 50 people in that second Zoom meeting, and the majority of them were professionals, experts, Egyptologists, Nubiologists, archaeologists.
Was it luck or was it the ancestors?
You know me, it was the ancestors. All praise to the ancestors.
Oh man,
God did.
That's funny, yo.
Look at God. Won't he do it? Won't he do it?
How the experts actually said the exact same thing that we've been talking about with you know why they said it? Because we was using their work. That's why. Using their videos, using that. Come on, man. Crazy. And the one that they was claiming wasn't with
Brother Reggie.
Hey, Reggie. It's a great day, bro.
Who was that was against it?
Lady who said she ain't had no written work on it and gave us that source right there.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. The Wazunga is the one that was against it. Don't be sorry.
Anyway, y'all got the. I think we covered it. I think we covered it all right. I'm a pile on and finish y'all off right here, right with the African civilization. I'm gonna read this again real quick. I'm gonna finish mine off with this. Okay. The stool, yeah, by 3,200 BCE, the power and wealth of Castule state was in steep decline. The balance of power has shifted to the rulers of Upper Egypt. With its much more extensive area suitable for farming and much greater concentration of the population. It say, it is tempting to see the first moves towards Egyptian unification in the South, as at least in part a response to early attacks from coastal kingdom. But the movements of Nabta people to the now between 3,400 and 3,300 BCE were likely an even more important factor. We know who them people are at the culture that was in Nabta. We studied that. It says sometime around 3,100 BCE, the Upper Egyptian rulers brought all of Egypt under one authority. The final blow for the coastal state came when the first dynasty king, Adhora, sent his forces southward to destroy the last remnants of the kingdom. Say the unification of Egypt in the late 14th millennium completed the social and political transformation of the country. It say the sacred chiefs of the Middle Nile Basin culture area became the divine kings of Egypt. I'm gonna say this again. The sacred chiefs of the Middle Nile Basin culture area became divine kings of Egypt, who as late as the start of the third dynasty still required human beings to be sent along with them into the afterlife. As part of the same historical drama, unification, the separate local deities of Egypt, pre-dynastic Af-Asian religion, were co-opted into a new religious synthesis. They became gods in the newly polytheistic religions, a religious unification of the country that paralleled its political unification and gave, finish it off, and gave the people the formerly independent small polities of Egypt an ideological state in a new state. Yeah, y'all heard that. Go replay the damn tape. Man, we appreciate y'all coming through, man. Hey, been a great show, man. Juju, Sosa. Appreciate y'all here, man. Brendan, man. Appreciate everybody in the chat, man. Yeah, we done with this conversation, man. Everybody can have fun with it, man. We moving straight to the cosmos, stellar evolution next week, man. I got a few things I want to go bring to the people. Man, make sure y'all like and subscribe, man. Come on through. We here. We doing our thing. We having fun. Bringing the scholarship. And it's just an amazing week we had, man. A great birthday for me, man. I appreciate everybody that contributed, man. I really do. I really appreciate that. And some way, somehow, the material we was presenting, we heard the experts speak on that. I don't know how it happened. I do know how it happened. Brother Brendan, right? Sister Juju, with that Juju, found their way up in there. Brother Reggie, right? Found their way up in there, man. And we got what we was looking for. We don't got to extend the conversation no farther than this, man. You know, go back and check the shows out. Smash, PseudoKillas, you know what I'm saying? Southern University, man. And y'all make y'all mind up. One thing we can say, that the PseudoKillas, once again, are in alignment with the experts. Appreciate that, man. You know, appreciate everybody came through, man. And y'all know what it is with that, man.